Self perfected.
Let's go! Come and get the news, get some common sense too. Breaking through the filter that's been clouding the view. Step out the algorithm, take back control. No bias, no opinion, just pure gold. Tune in, wake up, it's time to reflect. What's best for all is what we dissect. No spins, no games, just the truth in your ear. Self-perfected, making things clear. So if you're ready to see and you're ready to choose, come and get the news with the common sense view. Self-perfected, making things clear.
What's up, Mitchell?
I'm back. You're back. We're all back. Drake got more tan. I got more tan.
Is this a black joke?
What? No. Wow. You got racist all of a sudden, Drake. You've changed. You've changed since before the cruise. Well, hey, everyone.
I'm
Hey,
darker?
hey, 12. No. Since I got to hang out with you in person. And I got to see what really goes on at Drake Pearson's household. A cat that dominates this room. There's one room in the house that this cat is just dominating.
That's true.
Until hear no further. So hey everybody. Oh,
What's up?
We got some reposts. Oh, Giselle, we
okay,
missed you
cool.
on the cruise, but you get an extra week of life. Aaliyah, where's that repost?
Who was
whoop,
the
whoop.
first? Who's the first?
I see Giselle on my side.
That's it? Okay.
But I also have a lot of tabs open. See, I hung out with Drake so much on a resonant level, I just started getting more tabs. I'm just kidding. We just have a lot to talk about today
That's
because the world is changing. The world's changing fast, y'all.
Oh, there's Austin. I see
Aaliyah
Austin.
claimed she was the first. I don't know.
You can make claims all you like. You know, anybody can make claims. You know, I can make claims to whatever. It doesn't make it so.
I can claim that the Antichrist is coming. Doesn't mean it's happening.
Well, Peter Thiel also claims that. So
Oh yeah, Peter Thiel. If anyone never watched that interview with Peter Thiel and that guy Ross, whatever.
Ross.
Man.
Perot. Wait, no.
No, not Ross Perot. Ross, some medium level guy at New York Times.
Is his name Ross?
His name is Ross, but it's like Ross. It sounds like Ross Ulbricht, but it's not Ross Ulbricht.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, that Peter Thiel clip. If anyone doesn't know what we're talking about, you know what? It could be worth pulling up, but I have so many damn tabs open. I'm not gonna. I'll spoil it for everybody. Peter Thiel.
Yeah.
If you don't know who Peter Thiel is,
Who is he?
oh my god, dude! On the Hangout, we asked who knows what Palantir is. I thought
so many
everybody was gonna know. I know. That's why
So many
sometimes
people.
I gotta DM you in the chat, Drake. I'm like, hey, some of the shit we're sharing might go a little bit over people's heads.
Yeah. You're like
Okay.
Drake.
Okay,
You gotta explain that
if
one.
there were a reptilian overlord
Hold on.
of this planet, it would be Peter Thiel.
Mitch, you were not yelling like this before the podcast.
Oh,
when
sorry,
I
it's
said, when I said your mic was speaking.
Okay. Is it good now?
I don't know. Let's ask Giselle. Giselle,
Hey,
you're an avid listener.
Okay, rate me from 1 to 10, but not with how loud it is, but with how good it sounds. And not the content of what I'm saying, but like, does it sound pleasing in your ears?
The quality of his sound.
The quality of my sound, is it a 10? And if not, send me some
wow.
feedback.
Flowfire, whoever that is, says 10.
Wow, Aaliyah just admitted. She says, how did you repost, Giselle? Because I repost the second I get a notification that they're live. I think you got to sit on the page itself and press
Giselle
refresh
says you
over and
sound
over.
great.
It's like you're getting.
says
It's like
a
you got to
10.
get Coachella tickets. Okay, there's only a limited amount.
Flowfire says, I'm Madeline. Okay. All right.
Shout out Flowfire.
I'll believe that when I see it, Flowfire.
Flowfire.
Until further notice, you're Flowfire.
No, I like Flowfire. Drake, did you ever play that game called Dungeons and Dragons? I'll get back to Peter Thiel in a second, I promise.
I've not ever played.
Have you heard of
Dungeons
Have you heard of the premise behind it though?
Definitely. I've watched people play.
Oh, you would watch people play it. What? It's like that's like the kids who watch the streamer and they're not actually playing.
No.
You're like watching them stream.
No.
Play Dungeons and Dragons.
Hold on. First of all,
Okay,
it's a very specific
You're-
context.
You're peeking a little bit.
I'm peeking.
Oh God, no Cameron's in here.
Okay, listen. I will change the settings on my settings.
All I was saying is, if we did end up playing Dungeons and Dragons sometime, Madeline's name would have to then be Flowfire, and she would
Okay.
be like a wizard, a wizardess.
Okay, no, Austin, no, it's not.
Cameron,
exactly
you're not
the
on the
same.
studio, so if you're saying
It's
something,
not exactly the same. Let me show you.
there he is.
Hey, Cam.
Cam was just
I
lurking.
feel like everybody's really loud. Is it just me, guys? I have my audio turned down.
No, your ears are. Oh,
I
you
think
didn't fly.
Mitch is really loud, and you do sound like not that loud.
Well, I'm gonna stay this loud because I got a 9 out of 10 and a 10 out of 10 rating in the chat. So you just gotta turn your volume down, Cam.
Turn your volume up, Cam. You're gonna have to,
Get your ears
Catch
to
up.
bleed.
yeah, get up
So,
to.
anyway.
What should I walk into?
Okay.
Mitch
I was just
says
about to talk
he was
about Peter Thiel.
asking if I ever played Dungeons and Dragons, and I said no.
We already got on 2 tangents.
But I have.
I
Why?
was.
You think I'm
people.
far away from my mic, huh? Is that what you think, Kimmy?
There you go.
I mean,
Who's
you
Mike?
You think I'm far away from my mic cam? I don't know who Mike
Hey,
is.
shout out
Yeah, who's
Flowfire.
Mike?
This was her artist name, Flowfire. If you ever play Dungeons and Dragons, you gotta say that. So anyway, Cameron, on the Hangout on Friday night,
Is that Madeline?
it's
Yes,
Madeline. Yeah,
It's,
Wow,
no, it's
Flowfire's her
Flowfire.
alter ego,
No,
yeah.
we're calling her Flowfire.
Flowfire. That sounds like one of those cats from those books my daughter likes to read.
Oh, there you go. There
you
you
go.
go.
So Cameron, on the Hangout on Friday night, we were talking about Palantir, and Drake was just about to go in on a rant. He's like, Palantir, fucking drones, AI surveillance. I was like, hold on. Everyone, drop in the chat like a 1 if you've heard of Palantir and a 0 if you haven't. It was eyebrow raising how many
if
people
you
had not
haven't
even
heard
heard of Palantir. If they hadn't heard of Palantir, yes. So I was
Mitchell was
about
one of
to.
those
I'm
people.
full of rage.
Oh
right
my!
now.
That's how we rage bait Cameron. We just tell
Like,
him stats.
where was this that you asked people?
This
This
is
is
on
on
the
the
Hangout.
self-perfected fucking hangout with like people in the group who listen to the podcast.
Yes.
So we maybe have to repeat ourselves a few more times.
I
But
think
I was explaining.
Palantir. Wait, don't
It
say
to be
it
like
3 times.
Netflix.
Don't say it 3 times.
It's like Beetlejuice.
Hold on, Drake, your microphone sounds real intense.
Whoa.
Everybody's does, guys. Everybody's intense today.
Guys, we're back from the cruise. We're
I think
going
it's
more
just
crazy
Mitchell.
than
I
ever.
think Mitchell's just really intense.
You guys,
And
I
we've
said
never
we have
heard
to
Mitchell
go. I
be
said we
this
have to go
intense
full
on the
on.
podcast.
I think Gen Z
Said
are
we have
gonna
to
love
go
this
full on.
podcast. It's just like constantly
Hey.
like ear rot.
We should be like that one guy who was reading the book and shouting, who obviously had a very low reading speed. Raikon, what's his name?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Palantir.
Volunteer.
This is like episode 200. Anyway, it's irrelevant.
Wow.
Oh,
I was just about to explain who Peter Thiel is, and I was saying
you
if
see
there
what
was a
Madeline said?
reptile.
She said she'd never,
never
heard
heard-
it before.
Wow.
The
Wow, there we go.
podcast.
No.
So we just got to make
No.
people feel dumb, and they'll want to
yeah,
listen
that's
to
what
our
I'm saying.
podcast.
I'm like, oh, we just have to shame people and
Hey, okay.
recognizing their
Who
ignorance.
here knew that Peter? Who here? No,
Who
this is
here?
like trivia.
Yes.
Knows what Peter Thiel is an anagram for? Anybody?
The reptile.
Anybody? Oh, Drake. Yes, you're right.
Also,
Peter
isn't it
Thiel is the founder of Palantir. Okay, if anyone doesn't know.
Peter Thiel.
No, he's not the founder, but
Palantir.
he's the guy who got the funding. Maybe he's the founder.
I don't know.
Yes, he's co-founded it with
Okay.
Alex Karp and
Got
others.
it. Sorry.
Oh, Alex
But
Karp
he
is
doesn't. He doesn't
also
run
a
day to day.
founder.
But yeah.
Yeah, and if anyone
Alex
doesn't know
Karp is the
Alex
CEO.
Karp, holy shit, that guy is on.
What if
that guy is full on?
Okay, what is a carp? Look that up.
It sounds like the name of a Pokemon.
a fish?
Well, it's a fish. And yes, they did name a Pokemon after the fish.
Hey, you guys want to hear something really funny? Real quick,
Yeah.
side tangent.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to
Tangent
go
on
through
the
all of it.
tangent.
So last night on the stream, I was talking about that new Disclosure movie that's coming out, right?
Okay.
Oh, you got to tell us about it.
Well,
I don't know anything.
I'll
about
go
it.
into more detail later, but I just want to tell you this part because it's relevant to names, right? So then I was like, oh, dude, it's a Steven Spielberg movie, right?
Yeah.
So then we're looking at all the movies he's made, and it's like, it's crazy. But his name is Spielberg, and I was thinking about it, and I was like, Spiel. Like, what's a spiel?
You like
You know-
it kind of like a rant?
Yeah, like look it up. It's like when you're telling us a story, a persuasive story, but that people are like dubious or it's like skeptical about it or what. Like, come on, give me your spiel, right? But then if you go to the German, it means like to play or like a theater play. And I'm
Oh
like,
my
dude,
gosh.
like if you look at his Wikipedia, he's like the most renowned, awarded director ever in history. And I'm like, and his name happens to be Spielberg, like the guy who tells us what happened in all kinds of different events. And like, I was just like, what the fuck, dude? Anyway, so that's what was funny. I was like, how has no one ever noticed this?
I wonder what Berg means in German. Hey, Flowfire, can you tell us what Berg is? Is
I'm pretty
it
sure
what-
it's like city.
No, it's like whenever you're hungry, it's like a burger, but you just don't want to say the rest of it. Like, I'll take I'll take 2 burgers.
that was me on the cruise ship?
I'll take 2 burgers and a fry.
That was Josiah and Pedro on the cruise ship. God damn, those guys can eat. What does Berg mean?
like a, yeah, I think it's like city, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mountain or hill? So he's
Yeah,
a
that's
whole
what I meant.
mountain
That's
full
what I
of
meant.
spieling.
I mean, like a city as in like a mountain.
Wait, but I thought like,
Mountain,
St.
there we go,
Petersburg-
Flowfire.
Maybe that's in Russian. Maybe in Russian it's.
But
not
I think,
city.
and then it kind of just becomes like you throw it onto a city.
Yeah, or like iceberg, you know?
Yeah, like
Mountain
a
of
nice
ice.
city.
Yeah, yeah.
Spiel Mountain. That's pretty good.
So speaking of the cruise, guys, that was fun. It's good to see you guys. You know, did you guys like
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, it's all right. It's okay.
How about you, Drake? We didn't. You know, I know there was a lot of people in the group that were afraid because they got programmed from Titanic. Which, dude, it was that. There's no way that was that wasn't. That doesn't seem like a Spielberg movie. Who
Titanic?
directed
I don't think it
Titanic?
was.
No, I think that was James
I-
Cameron.
James Cameron. Oh.
yeah.
Yeah, he's the other one.
Well, so I never watched Titanic, so I wasn't scared of the cruise. But
Cameraman.
hey, we all walked through that fear of what if our ship sinks, and we're here, we're alive, guys.
Yeah, you know, Titanic wasn't real. That was
No,
it's not how
don't
it
tell
actually
me.
went down.
Don't tell me there's like a conspiracy and it somehow relates to the money system,
definitely.
and like
Yeah,
there were
apparently,
people
like,
on it that got taken out. Don't tell me.
100%.
This would be such a good plot for a movie.
Nothing happens by accident. Everything is specific.
Fuck. Yeah, guys. If anyone hasn't heard that conspiracy either, drop a 0 in the chat if you haven't heard the Titanic.
Are we still calling it a conspiracy? Come on, dude.
Drake already
No,
knows.
the
this.
conspiracy is the other thing that was just random with Leonardo DiCaprio as the main character.
Oh, dude. You know who made? You know, speaking of Leonardo DiCaprio, remember Catch Me If You Can?
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh yeah.
Spielberg.
Oh
He's literally made a movie called Catch Me If You Can.
damn. Who's the other dude who was real weird? Stephen King, I think. He's the one. He was like he got really outspoken during
He's a
the
book writer.
lockdown era. Yeah, but he was like very outspoken, like talking shit about the administration and everything.
I think he wrote it.
Have you ever
Yeah.
read it?
No, I watched the original one.
Have you ever read the end of it?
Is it either related to pedophilia or he turns into a spider or some shit?
It's not pedophilia, but it's a bunch of children. Use your imagination.
Yeah, it's really fucked up. So I mean, imagine you're Stephen King and you come up with all these twisted stories. Like you got to be kind of a fucked up human to do that.
He's like, let me put this out there.
Yeah. Well, I remember watching. Did you guys watch the original It from the '90s or whatever?
Yeah, I saw it when I was a kid.
Yeah, when you're a kid. Yeah. I remember watching that in high school. I'm like watching it with my girlfriend and all my friends, and I had to like be cool. And inside, I'm like, holy fuck, I'm so scared. And you know, but you can't act like a bitch, and so you know, I'm just like sitting there. But so then I this was my own form of my psychosis. So I started then rooting for. It's like you root for the bad guy in the movie. Because if you're, so then I'm like, oh, if I was the clown and I was really gonna like scare him, I'd go here. So that way I could, you know, maintain my composure.
So you
and seem like I
psychologically
was cool.
cope with it by becoming evil.
No. I was just predicting the evil, so I could prevent the evil. So I didn't look like a bitch. in
That
front
is
of my
super
girlfriend.
OCD.
Dude, talk about OCD. That was like my childhood. I was telling Drake when they called it.
Dude,
I don't even know who called it.
Dude. Do you know how people all the time say shit like, well, you know, like my OCD, that's because my OCD.
Yeah.
and we just write that off, right? When you're like, oh, they're just like making
Yeah.
an excuse for why they're doing something weird.
We should
They're probably like literally
institutionalize
like,
them.
look, oh, I'm trying to tell you, I'm reaching out for help here. I literally think I'm gonna die if I don't put this cup down 5 times. They're like telling you when they say that, oh, it's because of my OCD. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like when you hear that, you're like, oh, I'm just making an excuse for like a weird behavior.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Yeah,
but it's actually telling you like,
dude,
it's
you should
saying
go in on
inside, I have to do
ADD.
it.
You should go in on ADD sometimes too. That's a really common one people use as an excuse. Oh,
Mitch
it's
is
like
still
I'm
trying
like
to learn
ADHD.
He's like ADD and SUBTRACT.
Can you go in on counting?
Can you go in on?
I'm gonna do a deep dive on my stream tonight on counting.
No, do it on math. Yeah,
That being said,
I need
there's
a
a
math
lot
lesson.
about counting we don't know.
dude. Yes, you talk about the number line.
Well, okay, count all the numbers between 0 to 1.
See, I need a deep dive on that, Cameron.
Think about it.
You cannot.
Yeah,
It's
there's
impossible.
like levels of infinity, right?
Actually, it isn't. Well,
It's infinite. It's finite, but it's like it's such a great number.
is the
No, I think it's infinite.
actually.
interval?
Interval 0?
See,
So
most
one
people don't even know what interval means, Cameron.
No, it's not. Yeah,
Can anyone here
It's not
honestly,
infinite?
besides Drake and Cameron, the math tutors, can anyone say what interval means?
Hold
But
on,
I'm
wait.
pretty sure the rational numbers from 0 to 1 are countable, if I remember correctly.
Rational numbers from 0 to 1 are countable.
I think so.
See, notice everyone in your brain, everyone listening to this. Notice how your brain just shut off the moment he said rational number.
Are the
You're like,
rationals
"Oh."
countable? Yes, the rationals are countable.
The rationals are countable. How is that possible?
Would you like to know?
How is that even possible?
Watch my live.
Drake
stream
is
tonight.
having an existential crisis. He's got to.
That doesn't make sense
Real
because
time.
you can always extend the denominator.
You can always.
All right,
count to
all right,
another
you nerds.
number.
All right,
Hold on.
all right,
You
all
can
right, you
always count
nerds.
to another number. Are the
Okay,
integers-
yeah. Okay, countable, but that doesn't mean finite.
Watch.
We're-
Oh, I
Huh?
didn't say finite.
okay. Countable, sure, whatever, fine.
But the real numbers 0 to 1 are not countable. So
Because you'd have to continue with like, I don't know.
I took a course called number theory in college. That's pretty interesting.
a quarter of pi. A quarter of pi, you would never be able to finish that number.
Finish it.
Yeah.
Like you finish,
Finish
a latte.
the pie. Finish like
Finish
you
a
finish
pie. I
a
finish
key lime
pie all the time. I studied number theory. It's interesting. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, well, I'll watch a live stream on it. Now, you fucking nerds, let's get back to the important shit of our world. Like these gasoline refineries are being blown up everywhere.
I thought you were about to start singing Gasolina. I was excited.
That would be
No,
a
I'm
funny
surprised that
video.
wasn't one of the repetitive 10 songs that was on the cruise ship.
Bro.
I
you
heard
know-
Fireball by Pitbull
Do you know what
4
songs?
times a day every day.
I just like I just start singing songs. I'm like,
Mm,
what the fuck am I singing?
Yeah.
That's not one of them, thankfully. Thankfully, but the other ones are just as bad.
Oh, you know what I heard on the elevator? I'm
On which elevator?
ready. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Yeah, what is that song?
It's that Sam Smith song. Remember we talked about a
Oh,
long time ago.
Oh, man.
Sam Smith.
That sucks.
Sam Smith
You got that
sucks.
It's a
stuck in your
catchy
head.
song.
No, I was waiting for them to play "Thanks" by the Riverbank,
What?
but it never came out. And then I saw Kyler. I was like, "Kyler."
He would have gone crazy if he heard his song.
I know. I would have gone crazy. Yeah. So everyone, the world didn't blow up since last week.
That's nice.
I have all sorts of clips here, guys. We can go in on.
Mitchell's
ready?
ready to.
I'm
dive
ready.
in.
You know what's
I'm ready.
unfortunate, Drake, is that Mitch didn't listen to any of that Giorgiani stuff.
I know.
No, so I've listened to Giorgiani a little
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
bit, but I don't know the basics of the Prometheus and Atlas. So maybe you could enlighten.
Well,
What?
I didn't want to talk about that. I wanted to talk about Epstein.
Oh, dude, I heard a little bit from a podcast one time. This was when I was driving down to Texas. So I had like hours. And he was saying some shit about like Epstein, cloning, Atlantis, that kind of stuff. Is that
Okay.
okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Remember,
Anti-gravity.
but hey, last time I brought up Island Boys, you guys had a reaction. So, you know, remember the Island Boys?
Yeah.
What the fuck are you talking about?
There's a conspiracy that the Island Boys are his cloned children.
Oh my god.
Those would not be the ones he's trying to clone.
Mitchell.
No, like he tried to clone, and then they were like a dumbed down offshoot, and so they got
Wouldn't be
spouted out.
brown.
Mitchell.
I'm just saying. I just heard the conspiracy because it's
Yeah,
an
no,
island, you know, like
Yeah,
Epstein
'cause
Island.
Yeah.
no,
I get
no,
that.
Mitchell.
That
You know?
that's just this just
That's called word
reduces
association.
the credibility.
Yeah, that's like.
Okay,
that's-
enlighten me. Okay, I
that's a
clearly don't know
CIA
anything.
Conspiracy. That's,
Okay,
that's
I-
the
like-
conspiracy that the CIA gives
If
you
I
so
if
that
this
you look
ends up being
retarded.
right,
There you go. That's right. This is
I end
like
up
this is
being
like
right,
Drake
though.
saying that the rationals aren't countable.
Shut up. What the fuck?
Okay. So enlighten me then, please. I don't know.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not even going to defend myself because everybody knows how ridiculous you sound right now,
you can.
Cameron. No, I shut up.
I think we have one other listener who understands any of that, and that's Katie.
And she's listening right now. She understands.
So
how retarded what
was
Cam said
okay?
sounds.
What's the premise with this whole Epstein, anti-gravity, and cloning?
Well, man, there's so much.
Okay, wait.
So much context.
Hold on. Yes, let's build the context. First of all, Mitch, what are you seeing a lot of on, just X from the White House and, just
UFOs.
in media?
UFOs.
Exactly.
Final answer.
There you go. Correct. Ding, 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 ding. We should have a prize for Mitchell. Do we have a prize for Mitchell?
You guys,
that coffee mug right there, full of coffee. That
the
Cameron's
Jefferson
holding.
one?
That's your prize.
hey,
I'm gonna buy him an elementary textbook on mathematics.
oh nice. Make sure it wasn't published by Ghislaine Maxwell's fucking dad. So
Oh, and remember that time we looked into it and it was like, no, he didn't write the textbooks and all this shit.
yeah,
But actually, there's a lot more to it than that. And apparently, he had Paragon Publishing, which was in control of like all of the
Wait,
peer review science.
Was it Paragon?
Or, no, not Paragon.
Pergamon, right?
Pergamon.
oh yeah. And, oh dude, look up the definition of Pergamon. Can you look it up, please, Drake, and read it to us out loud?
It's like the
First of
throne-
all, it's just a city in Turkey. Okay,
yeah, no big deal.
so don't worry about that.
Oh, what else? What's the second definition?
Well, let's see. Actually, I don't know what this is. This has a completely different mythology. This is like the Telephus and Heracles, and why couldn't they just call him
Roman
Hercules?
era, the city was famously mentioned in the Book of Revelation as the location of Satan's throne.
That's it.
That's
How'd
cool.
you find that?
Google AI overview.
Here's
You
the
just had
thing,
to go
guys.
down 2 bullet
here's,
points.
Here's the thing. And I know some people are not going to like this. They're probably not watching. If God is a tyrant, then who is Satan?
The rebel.
Right. So that's what they say. He's
Oh.
like the rebel, right? Mm-hmm. He didn't want to
Yeah,
accept.
but
God
you're
as
led
the
to
authority.
believe God is the good guy, and
He didn't want to accept God
Lucifer's
as
the bad
authority.
guy.
Neither do I.
oh shit, Cameron,
You're
sounding
Satan
an awful lot
guy.
like Lucifer.
You're Satan. That's what you're saying.
If Satan was walking around going, "We should create a world that's best for all," and have people, have what they need and make sure children aren't abused, and they'd be like, "Sounds a little evil to me."
Yeah,
Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
dude. Okay.
The part that I
That-
never looked into is the Satanism is linked with like the child sacrifice, right? So
Okay,
it's like
okay.
obviously Satanism is retarded.
Hold on. Let me go back to Yahweh.
Oh no, but it's from God, so it's
Did you know there's no?
automatically good.
Did you know there's no Satan as a
In the Bible?
actual evil guy in the Bible?
They didn't even have hell.
It's
in the
just
Old
an
Testament.
adversary.
It's just Sheol, the land of the dead.
Half the time when it says Satan, it's referring to somebody that God sent to go do something. Not half the
Oh,
time, most of the time. Like read the fucking Bible, people.
Also, that thing that you had said earlier about like if Satan were going around saying let's create a world that's best for all, that was the vibe that I got from Childhood's End. But I only watched the movie. I didn't actually read the book. But that was the vibe because it's like, oh, we're going to cure all diseases and all the nice things, right? And then at the end, in the book or in the movie, I'm sure this is the same in the book, but in the movie, at the end, they go through a period like 20 years where they've eradicated all diseases. Everyone's smarter. Like basically, the world's like coming into utopia. There's still people who are like rebelling, but
They're rebelling against the utopia.
yeah, and basically it's like some alien has come to Earth. They've given them this technology that all this stuff, but they won't reveal their face or what they look like or anything like that. And so people are like, show us your face, Clayton, and then after 20 years, when everyone's like, wow, life is so much better, then he reveals himself, this alien guy. And when he reveals himself, he's got like horns and
He
a
looks
fucking
like
tail
the literal devil.
with he looks like all the depictions that you've ever seen of what the devil looks like. He's got like goat feet and shit.
No.
Yeah.
So he
And
makes
he's
a utopia. Is it like a
literally
real
red skin.
utopia or is it like a fucked utopia?
It's a fucked utopia.
Oh,
Yeah, isn't it? It's like kind of like, I don't remember what the negative points are, but it's
No, okay. So the negative
kind of like
points.
mind controlled or something, or mind. I don't know. I don't remember.
The negative points are there's still people who are like fuck this, fuck you guys, and they're like trying to start like some shit or whatever. But also at the very end, what he doesn't disclose to them is that he wants to take the children, and like
Yeah.
he basically takes the children because he's developing the children to develop some like psi abilities.
Yeah.
Like
Some
they
kind
can
of-
do
yeah.
telekinesis and shit like that. And then he takes those children who've developed those abilities and he goes, all right, now I'm going to take them to some other planet where, they're needed and fuck you guys. He just like leaves everyone else on the planet who doesn't have like, supernatural powers. He just leaves them here and is like, yeah, you're fucked.
dude, that's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, and guys, that's why we can't have a world that's best for all because that could happen.
Well, actually, if you think about it, though, it can't. That is a fucked utopia because, like, it wasn't the people themselves that like realized the errors of their ways and then worked
100%.
together to create the utopia. It was like
100%.
a top-down,
Yep.
super intelligent thing going like, "I'll tell you what to do and just listen to me," and then you're mad later when he tells you something you don't like. So that obviously wouldn't work. So the idea of Satan as the rebel isn't Satan should become the god of everybody and you should follow the Satan. It's just I'm just playing the devil's advocate here, okay? It's just
You're
the
his lawyer?
principle. If you want to take the best of it, it's just the principle that you should not simply accept a superior being. That's it. That's it. Now, when you so if true Satan, well, I don't want to say Satanism because it's such a tainted word that clearly there are elements of people who do Satanism because they're like, I don't know, they want to be evil. I don't know, but
They think it is evil and they want to be evil.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. But let's just say that's like it's like any word can be twisted or it can have connotations, right? But like the pure form of it, like the kind of not evil form of it, is just self-responsibility. I don't accept a superior being. So if you actually truly accepted that, then why would you try to become the superior being over everybody? So I think that's the hidden. That's the
Hidden
what's the word I'm
taboo.
looking. No, it's like the when people say like, "Oh, you think you're talking about best for all." You must
think
have
you're
some
God.
ulterior motive.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I hear that, but if I'm truly saying what's best for all, then it wouldn't include trying to dominate everybody. So
Right.
and then it's like, well, you can't be the one that does that, but I
Wait.
believe in the one who already does it. So
Wait. Because I think what they're saying is that you're just using that because it sounds nice and you think I'm dumb enough to go along with that, and you're just going to take advantage of me by saying something that sounds nice.
Literally,
So I'm not
it's
gonna do it.
never worked though. Literally, never ever has anyone the first time I talk about Best for All been like, "Oh, sure," like very naively, like I'll go along with so you can become the god of everybody. They're always
Yeah.
like, "That won't work."
Right.
So if I wanted to be deceptive, I wouldn't talk about that.
Yeah.
I
No,
would
100%,
like,
I agree.
and then also, okay, so if
But-
if I wasn't trying to be deceptive and trying to do all that stuff, what would I talk about?
I mean, hey, let's
If you weren't trying to be deceptive and you wanted it to happen,
If you wanted a world that's best for all, and you
you
weren't trying
would
to be
just
deceptive,
talk about it over and over and over and
That's
over.
right.
And over
So
and over.
no matter what, whether you're being deceptive or not, like if you were truly trying to be deceptive, you would just go along with whatever they believed could be possible, which wouldn't be a world that's best for all, which would be some level of hierarchy, and you would just make that sound good.
I think what they're basically saying when they reject what's best for all is it's an admission that they're not too bright. That's all. They
Can't
just like,
process it.
yeah, like, but I mean, like an admission of like, hey, you know how sometimes people will have like no soliciting signs on their door because they know as soon as you knock on their door, they're buying whatever it is you're selling. You know, so they got to put up barriers. They got to put up like a wall. They're like, no, please, go away. Just don't. My wife is already upset with me. Like she knows. Ah, here's my wallet. You know, I think that's basically what they're saying. Is they're like, listen, I have poor impulse control, and you're saying something that sounds very nice, and I will just go along with whatever you say. Please help me.
Yeah.
Isn't a no soliciting sign a form of soliciting?
Yeah.
Like you're telling other people
Yeah, it's
something?
like- yeah.
Yeah. Well, yes.
It's like a magical spell, you know. Like, oh, I put the seal of this on the door, you know, the temple or whatever to keep out evil spirits. I'm like, that doesn't work on me.
Dude, I saw this sign the other day. It was a political sign in the yard, and yes, it was in Minneapolis, and it it said, "Democracy dies in silence." And I saw that, and I was like, you can read the words. So on one hand, I get their intention is probably like, you got to speak out so democracy doesn't die in silence. But in reality, what is the message that's being impulsed? Democracy is dying in silence. Accept it.
Yeah,
It's funny.
yeah. It's like I see what you're saying. If you kind of reverse the intention of it,
If you just look at the fucking words, it's literally just saying democracy dies in silence. It's like a statement about reality.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
like if it said people
Democracy
die
dies.
like people die in car crashes,
Yeah.
but it's like literally trying to like command it into
Yeah. There's so much of it when you start to see it. It's really,
It's like
fucking
it's like
weird.
those signs on the freeway with those injury lawyers, and they'll be like injured in a car wreck.
Well, and then for them, they're trying to, subconsciously like.
Every
they
time I
want
see
you
those
to.
things, I got to pick up my cup.
Yeah, every time I do that, I'm like, I have to look out the left window and then the left window to the right window,
You know, it's
and then
funny.
pray the rosary.
On the way to the airport, I was on the way to the airport to pick up Mitchell, and on the way there was a massive sign that was like,
died on a boat crash.
no, it was something like big truck lawyers or something like that, and I couldn't determine whether it was like they're going to represent you if you got into a wreck with a big truck, or if it was a lawyer for the big trucks, because it was right over a massive yard for big trucks, like semi trucks and like garbage trucks. Like there was a massive yard of just trucks, and the sign was literally right over it. And I'm like, are they advertising to the truck drivers, or are they trying to psych them out? Like you're gonna get so fucked if you get into a wreck. Like I don't know.
Maybe it was some kind of transformer. So he's like a lawyer that he goes into court and like he transforms. He's like a truck. That's the most.
It's
obvious
Optimus
explanation.
Prime. That's
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Yeah.
You guys, holy shit! I just realized they were doing predictive programming with Transformers, you know these Optimus fucking robots. Guys, it's only a matter of time. Did you see the new Tesla semi-truck? Apparently it can go 500 miles with a full load. And
I was like 500 miles an hour? That's crazy.
Dude, it's only a matter of time. They're going to morph the fucking cars and the robots. Holy shit.
So, yeah. So I was going to say back to Epstein.
I was going to
yeah.
say back to
Okay.
Palantir, but okay.
Yeah. Well, hey, Peter Thiel is in the
Let's start with Epstein. That's more entertaining.
I want to know. Yeah, I want to know.
Okay,
know.
so basically, this alien disclosure thing, right? All the UFO stuff seems like a distraction from the Epstein stuff, doesn't it? It's
people
like
say.
if you're just looking on the surface, doesn't it seem like, oh, the Epstein list, whatever, they don't want to release all this stuff. Now they're just throwing out UFOs. And you look at the comments, and all the comments are like, we don't care about UFOs. We want the Epstein list. Like, do your fucking jobs, guys. Anyway, so why is it that for decades, it seems like our government's been obsessed with UFOs, but not saying too much about it, And at the same time, it seems like there's definitely like some occult stuff happening, throughout the elite, all over. And it seems like, well, okay, you either believe that the people are like really into like child sacrifice and all that stuff, or you believe that I don't know, the government's trying to go to the moon. Maybe why did they do that on April 1st? Why, I don't understand, right? But it seems like a
Why
bunch
is there no good footage from the entire moon launch thing?
Yeah, like it seems like these are things that are kind of like opposite ends. They just are unrelated, It seems like if you look at what happens with the elite, what they're interested in, it's mostly like occult stuff, Illuminati type stuff, child sacrifice type stuff. They're kind of into paranormal stuff. And then there's like this UFO thing that's kind of like just weird, maybe just crackpot conspiracy theorists. But then we're like also trying to go to the moon. So it just seems like it's kind of random. But what if all those things were actually connected? What if all those things actually have a thread where there is a connection between the occult and the space stuff and the child sacrifice type stuff, like Epstein stuff? And it's more than just that. It's more than just what we're given on the surface. In fact, what Giorgiani says anytime somebody brings up, like, oh, but do you think Epstein did that stuff to those kids? Like was he actually trafficking minors? He's like, yeah, but that's not the point. That's the salacious headline to get you to ignore everything else about the case. Right?
Epstein story is the distraction
Epstein,
Shit.
the Epstein story itself is the distraction.
because of the way it's presented and the way it's narrowing your focus onto like one particular area.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Mary says, didn't a few other countries already go to the moon?
Like the
Yeah.
whole country.
Apparently,
They just packed up and like went to the moon.
Get me off this fucking space rock.
we also went to the moon.
Apparently, and then they lost all the footage.
All the footage.
Oh, sorry,
All
they
the-
lost all the
I'll
technology.
tell you what Alex
Yeah.
Jones said. He said we did go to the moon, but the footage you saw was fake.
Right. That is what
So
Alex
why,
Jones said.
so why would that be? I think that maybe is true. I mean, I don't know because I
I don't know.
wasn't involved. But
No, I wasn't there.
well, go look into what the remote viewers saw on the moon.
Ooh, what'd they see?
I won't tell you, but
But if you watch my 4-hour live stream, you might see.
if you'd watched 14 hours of Jason Giorgiani interviews like I did,
I hate when Cam goes on long drives. I absolutely fucking hate it.
but check
Oh
this
yeah,
out. Hold on. But check
dropping
this out.
all
Check
those
this out.
YouTube
I get
videos.
hours, like 10 hours of podcasts. I'm like, I'm never gonna fucking catch up to this.
Yeah, you know how you know Drake or Mitch, how you're like, how do people not know what Palantir is?
Cameron's
I'm
like, how
like,
do people not know what the remote viewer saw on the moon?
I was watching this one video and they were saying that the moon is an artificial construct, and it's got some kind of technology in it that controls the reincarnation cycle. So that's
You know,
weird.
it's
Sounds
yeah,
crazy.
but I mean, it also sounds kind of weird. The classic fucking story, like some asteroid. What is the mainstream story?
Yeah,
some
yeah, yeah.
asteroid hit the Earth millions and millions of years ago, and now that
A chunk of the Earth broke off,
chunk of the Earth, because it looks like
and
the Earth,
and it
So it
turned
looks like it's
into
made
the
out of
moon.
mud and water?
It turned into a perfect sphere.
a perfect sphere
Yes.
that then also goes around perfectly. And okay,
yeah.
yeah, of
That's-
course,
That's the
Guys,
story. That's the
And,
name.
some fucking conspiracy.
and
Also,
like,
there's
it's
like
bigger
not
than like any other moon on any other planet relative to the size of Earth.
yeah. Also, there's not like random debris floating around it like on every other planet.
yeah.
And it's 400 times smaller than the sun, but 400 times the diameter, so that it perfectly eclipses it. And that happens apparently on no other
No, that
moon
was
on any other planet.
Cameron. This is God. God did it.
Right.
Sure.
So he can do all that, but he can't stop,
Stop a
a
pedophile.
child dying of cancer or
Yeah.
being
Yes,
abused.
yes, Cameron.
But he helped me find my wallet last week when I prayed.
My
So that was
grandpa. Emmy said my grandpa was in the room when Apollo 11 happened. According to my grandpa, wait, what? What do you mean in the room, Emmy? Like in the NASA room? Like in the living room?
Everybody was in a room when it happened.
It's in the room. I was in the room when that happened. They're like, "Oh, Grandpa, did you see Apollo 11?" I was in the room when that happened.
I was in the room when 9/11 happened.
I was in the bathroom.
The control room. Oh my gosh, Emmy, is your grandma still alive? You gotta interrogate her.
Yeah, you gotta go.
I think your grandparents are part of the fucking psyop.
Well, the thing is, whether I mean, I have no problem saying that we went to the moon, but why would the government tell you what actually happened? And like, why are they so interested in doing it? Why is it called Apollo? Like, why?
Oh,
Who's Apollo, Mitch?
who's Apollo? Some Greek god. Was he the messenger? Was he the version of Hermes?
No.
Emmy said her grandpa has 2 craters named after him. Dude, Emmy, you gotta find out, man. I bet there's some more to this story.
Get some disclosure from your grandpa.
What does Apollo mean, guys?
Why did she say LOL? She died 2 years ago.
Hello, Emmy.
She's
Fucking
laughing out loud.
ruthless,
She's
Emmy.
like,
What?
No, but think about it. Like, why is it called Apollo? Like, why did they name it after a Greek god? Why?
Oh, it means destroyer. Hot
Apollo
damn.
was like the twin brother of Athena, I think.
also,
Okay, but hold
God
on,
of
but check
music.
this out. But check this
He's
out.
the most worshipped god in the ancient world.
But check this out. Check this out. That temple on Epstein Island is a temple to Poseidon.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's into the Greek god, all that kind of stuff. NASA's into it, right? I was talking on the live stream last night. There's this asteroid that's supposed to come by the Earth in 2029, and it's really big, and it's supposed to be like the closest an asteroids come for like thousands of years. Like we'll be able to see it with our eyes, apparently. You know, maybe it's a dot. I don't know, but it's going to come closer than some satellites. It's closer enough. Like it's like closer than the average satellite, or I don't know. It's going to come very close. For a long time, they were worried that it might hit the Earth, but now it's close enough that they can predict its trajectory. Guess what they named it? Jellybean 27A?
Yes.
Big Rock? No, they named it Apophis, the god of chaos and destruction.
Dude.
Oh,
And
I'm
I'm like,
excited for this.
why? Why would you?
Mitchell. Question for you. What does Thanos mean?
My guess would be like destruction.
What do you think of when I say Thanos?
I think of the Marvel character with the fucking rings, and he wants to kill all the superheroes. Therefore, he's evil.
Okay.
Because I identify with superheroes.
Okay.
because
See,
I am
see,
a
Cam. You
7-year-old.
see my what is it? Thesis.
That people
I've
don't
heard of
read?
Thanatos as well. Is that a term?
Yeah.
Is Thanatos like the opposite of Thanos?
No.
Okay.
It's basically the same word.
same.
Oh, well. Oh, then I know exactly what it means. Just kidding. No,
Oh, you
what does
do?
it mean? No, I don't know what it means. What does it mean?
It's the Greek personification of peaceful death.
Oh, that would be it. Oh shit! This might get us off YouTube.
Do it.
Guys, I have a startup company idea for my Canadians out there.
Oh God.
We just need to raise some funding. Guys, I have a great brand name for it. It's called Thanos. Just kidding, guys. That stuff should
No, that
be
was good.
But what's the word euthanasia?
Than.
Yeah.
Fuck. Yeah, okay, this kind of I've thought about this twice now, guys. Apollo. According to study.com, which looks legit. It says Apollo is one of the most worshipped gods in the ancient world.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm getting mixed names. It says either the name means destroyer or the sun. So I gotta.
Yeah, he's the
fact
god
check.
of the sun. He's the one who has the chariot that pulls the sun up every day.
Oh.
Oh, see,
That's how I feel with you guys. Like
I went
like,
to an elite Jesuit school where we actually learned mythology. It was like a whole.
See,
we literally did a
I
whole
watched
course.
Hercules. I watched
school where we
I
actually
watched
learned
Hercules,
Greek
okay?
and Latin.
Yes, exactly.
So I remember that scene in Hercules where he's pulling the chariot, and I think there's like a horse. That's
Yeah.
how I feel on the podcast. And Cameron is one of the horses, and Drake is the other horse, and I'm over here holding on for my life.
Yes, that's pretty
Yes.
much it. You got to
Life with a capital L.
You know, I also watched Hercules, and what I learned from it.
Did you get traumatized from that one scene where he's in the underworld and it looks creepy?
No, I did not.
Oh,
I did not because I was too busy singing. It was too much
Singing?
fun. Yeah.
singing. What do we?
Was it a music?
What?
Is it a musical?
You know that Disney movie with the green underworld?
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you mean singing?
There was songs throughout the entire thing. What are you talking about?
Yeah, there wasn't
Mitchell?
a song during that part.
It was like Hercules. Hercules.
No, that's what Drake was singing to counter the negative thoughts.
Yeah, exactly. Because, dude, that was like literally the beginning of my childhood OCD. Was like that and watching Signs by probably fucking Steven Spielberg. Remember that scene? Did you guys
No,
watch
it was
Signs?
not by fucking Steven Spielberg.
No, it was Ridley Scott.
No, what the fuck?
It's a M Night Shyamalan.
It's
Oh, yeah.
Mitchell. You're worse.
Dude, fuck M. Night
this-
Shyamalan.
You're
you
worse
know who
at this than-
Palantir is, Mitch?
Yeah, you're the one who didn't even know the founder was Peter Thiel. Cameron.
No, I knew that.
Mitchell's like, yeah. And Palantir, written by
I said
J.R.R.
that-
Tolkien.
yeah, J.R. Tolkien. Hey, that's actually true. That's okay. All right.
Yeah.
Drake,
I'll give you
Drake,
that one.
Drake, can you go down and turn down your volume? Stop
No.
something. You have to. It's like peaking so loud.
So the next time you sing Hercules, we can enjoy it.
It's like distorting it. I don't know why. Maybe it's like the auto
Dude,
leveling.
seriously, I'm just realizing probably those movies we saw when we were
Oh
kids.
yeah.
Where it has
Automatically
a
adjust
scary
my
scene.
volume. There you go.
That was the beginning of my childhood OCD. Because I was like, oh, fuck, that's scary. And then it's like an imprint. And
Yeah.
then you're like trying to cope with it. And you don't, and then you forget, after 10 minutes, you're like, oh, I wasn't even scared. But you're walking around with a glitch in your
So that
nervous
information's
system.
on constantly like coming back up like in a very
Yes.
subtle way.
And then, of course, I'm scared of fucking death and going to the underworld.
right.
Why?
Because of
Because of
Hercules. Dude, I'm just going to show you the fucking picture. Hercules underworld.
Cam, avert your eyes.
If you guys haven't,
be prepared. Mitch is going to show us like some very graphic stuff right now. Go ahead, Mitch.
I'm trying to find it.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, go
this
ahead.
one. This
Show
one
us
right
your
here.
childhood trauma.
This one. Dude.
Ladies, you may want to close
Watch
your eyes
out.
for this one. It's pretty intense. Go ahead, Mitchell.
Hang
We're
on,
waiting.
I'm trying to share my fucking screen. Give me a second.
We're holding space for you. Oh,
whoa, no. Oh,
It looks like he's
That's it.
drained.
yeah, he does.
Yeah. So I'm like, wow. I'm like, Hercules. Yeah, I'm Hercules. And then, you're like, shit. Yeah, that was it. But
Mary
it was like
says-
scary music.
The movie House scared the shit out of her when she was young. I don't know.
House? I don't know what House.
I don't know that movie.
Like the show with the doctor?
no.
No, I don't think that's the movie. Is it the movie about the, house
Grudge.
that
Ooh,
has
did
all
you
the
guys watch The
technology?
Grudge?
Yeah, I saw that one.
Did
That
y'all
one
watch that
was
movie, The
fucked up.
Cabin in the Woods?
No. After I watched it with Pennywise, and then I was like, this is fucked.
Dude, that movie, I just remember that movie Cabin in the Woods was crazy. Like at the end of it, they like go into another dimension. It was so crazy, dude. I
I've
just
definitely never seen this movie.
Yeah, they started going from like just ghosts like gonna kill you,
You
to
know what
then
I'm
they had to
talking
get more into like paranormal weird shit.
yeah, like they went literally to this other dimension and like all these demons. It was so weird, man. Jeepers Creeper, yeah, that guy with the truck. That was weird
Damn.
too, man.
Guys, like think about it. Why does Hollywood? I wonder the budget of these average movie like Jeepers Creepers, Cabin in the Woods, whatever. The budget. How much money is spent on that? And we can't figure out how to feed every kid on planet Earth.
We can figure it out. No one cares.
They'd rather get
No,
stimulated.
no. Some people want to have power. I was reading that, so I started reading that Prometheus and Atlas book by Giorgiani, and there's this one chapter where he's talking about Marquis de Sade. Right, you guys have heard of sadism, and the way he explains
What's
like,
sadism?
Well, let's look it up. You want to pull it up?
What is sadism? Sadism is the tendency to derive pleasure, gratification, or excitement from influencing physical or mental pain, suffering, or humiliation on others. It exists on a spectrum from severe sexual violence to everyday sadism. Subclinical, cruel behaviors in daily life, such as bullying, trolling, or enjoying others' failures.
So sadism is basically you're just getting energy from
Being spiteful,
being
basically.
causing pain in others, right?
Yeah.
And this guy developed like a whole philosophy of it. And Giorgiani explains how it came from him taking Cartesian philosophy, which creates like a mind-body dualism, which means there's really no connection between the mental mind aspect and physical reality. Like they're really fundamentally separate. This was the whole problem that Descartes basically created in philosophy. And so he was explaining how basically he didn't believe in God, but he saw nature as like purely mechanistic, and that he made this argument that, you know, if you look at nature, right, there's like disasters in nature where animals, people die and so forth, right? So he said if causing pain and suffering to others was truly against the law of nature, like natural law, it wouldn't happen. Like if nature is like purely mechanical and deterministic, then it couldn't do something against its own nature. So therefore, cruelty and destruction and pain is fine within the context of the laws of nature. And he was explaining how he would get the most energy within himself. Like, you know, you could have like a nice meal, do something fun that gives you a certain level of experience of energy, but causing pain gives you the most. It's like the most ecstatic experience, apparently, is what he's saying, right? And so, and also, because the mind and the physical are separate, and the physical is totally deterministic, nothing you can do or experience within yourself has any effect whatsoever on the natural world. So basically it's like a justification for totally being a completely enclosed ego that just seeks its own pleasure no matter what, right? And then he like developed like a science of basically like torture to get the most like excitement. Just, I mean, as you read the definition, that's where the word sadism comes from, right? And
Damn.
yeah, it's pretty interesting. And then it was cool though, because Giorgiani points out the obvious contradiction, because you also don't want to accept that you're like literally you have no free will, like you have no effect in reality. So then he had to develop this idea that you still have to seek to understand the laws of nature and act in harmony with them. And it's kind of like when people say like God has a plan, so you have to understand the plan, you have to act in accordance with it. But at the same time, you believe nothing you do can go against God's plan anyways. So it's like this very obvious contradiction where you start from the premise that God is totally in control, but then you get to the point where you realize, well, that means I have literally no free will. Well, I still have free will, and I have to understand God's plan, and I have to act in accordance with it. But that defeats the whole premise you started with, that everything is done by the will of God, right? So he was just showing how they developed these philosophies, but because you can't rationally like accept that, you have to then kind of like placate yourself, like, well, but I do have free will still, and you know, there's a way around it. Kind
Just
of.
as you're explaining this, Cameron, I'm realizing how so many people nowadays do not even understand the basics of rational thinking and logic. Like even the word premise and making an argument where like, I mean, you were taught this at some point in your education. I remember going through philosophy class in high school and in university and all that. But nowadays people are so dumbed down. They don't even have that as their vocabulary. So they can't even like process a rational argument. I mean, you just have to get, we have to get better at explaining things like cause and effect in a way that they can comprehend. But I'm just seeing this, like, it's so mind-boggling how effective the dumbing down of the school system has been. And then you have social media and you have AI on top of it. So people outsource their thinking and they don't even have the basic components of logic.
Did you see that post I made about, it was something about the Antichrist? Like,
Yeah.
the best way not to be trapped by it is just don't believe in God. Like, just do what's best for all. Always,
And then
right?
people
Consider that.
react to it.
Well, yeah, and then this woman was like doing this whole story about how she lived under communism and all this stuff, and she wasn't allowed to believe in God, but now she does, and you can't deny people's experience of God, and that's why best for all isn't best because I said you don't have to believe in God. So,
Yeah.
but it was funny because at first I was just like looking at her comment and everything, and then I realized after the second comment she made, it's literally just ChatGPT.
Yeah, you can see it. You can see it in
tell
the pattern of the writing.
It has the M
dashes is what
but
they call
also it'll be like, that's not this. That's
It's
this.
that. Yeah.
It'll be like, that's
It's not this.
That's not
It's that.
caring. That's, hidden deception, or I don't know, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
you're like,
Yeah, it's
oh,
literally-
that's the only reason you feel confident arguing with me is because you're just having an AI. And I just asked her, like, are you like using ChatGPT to respond to me? She's like, I don't want to talk to a robot. Like, talk to me or give me a call. Like, I don't know. We don't have to argue right here, but damn, like, what's the point? I'm just arguing with robots now. Like, this is the problem, guys. Like, we're going to eventually have to argue with fucking robots.
Dude, what was that thing that you were telling me about? Like, who is the guy? Eric Weinstein and Sam Harris. Mm-hmm. Right?
Oh,
Like,
yeah. Maybe we should play that. I sent it to you guys. Or no,
You
I
did?
didn't. I did not.
You
but
did
I will
not.
find
I
it.
have not seen this.
You keep fucking
Play it.
saying that
Play
you
it.
sent
Let's
it,
see it.
but you lie.
So I've never looked into Sam Harris, but I've seen.
He's gay.
Yeah, I
Complete
get that.
fag.
I get that sense from him.
Yeah. And I don't mean like that he's homosexual. Not
Yeah,
at all.
he's just like total loser.
He's
just a
a
fag.
philosopher.
Self-illusioner. What stage is he at in the 8 stages? Self-deceiver.
Self-deceiver.
He's definitely somewhere up there.
Yeah.
Not down there.
Sam
Yeah,
Harris.
like Chantel said, persuading organic robots is challenging enough.
Right.
Yeah, you talk to some of these people now, you can tell they have totally abdicated their responsibility to ChatGPT.
So if we can learn through repetition, practice, and so forth, and letting go of your fears and being certain about what you're here to do, if you can learn to speak to the life within that person, you can help. You can. It's like when you're selling somebody, and you have somebody who's kind of like on board with you, and then you have somebody who's not, and they're a couple, let's say, but like you can have the other person help you, like persuade the person, right? So
Right.
it's like,
Yeah, it's such a key point, speaking to the life in the person.
Yeah. Inside you, there are two wolves. You have to co-op one
The
wolf.
one that's alive and the one that is addicted
I like
to
the one that
ChatGPT.
says, yeah, inside every person there's two wolves. They're both retarded.
Yeah.
All right, listen to this. You'll love this, Mitch, dude. I'm
All right.
gonna cover up the.
All right, this
the
is Sam Harris. Let's
description,
see.
so you can just
Okay,
hear
okay,
him.
let's see.
It's very disconcerting not to know whether someone has lost their mind, right? Like, because when you look at someone like Brett speak, he just seems to be the picture of reasonableness, right? He's not getting blown around by his emotional life, or certainly not in any obvious way when he's certainly not on a podcast with Rogan. And yet the things he says are equivalently crazy. And the certitude with which he says them, it's totally indefensible. You take his recent appearance on Rogan and you stick his claims into any LLM, and what you get is just a litany of obvious errors. And I did that for Joe. I sent him a link to my, Chat GPT session. Like, Joe, just here's a sanity check. Listen to what the robots say about what Brett was giving you on this most recent podcast. And he didn't seem to want to do that. So he's still convinced that.
All right, that's all I wanted you to see was that part.
Bag.
Look what the robots say.
Even it's so funny because he's projecting, like, oh, he's speaking with certitude and all this, but he's insane.
But okay, but the crazy thing is, what he's basically saying is that you can't listen to Brett Weinstein, even though he sounds very reasonable, and it makes sense what he's saying. You can't actually listen to that. You got to take what he's saying and put it into ChatGPT and let ChatGPT tell you what to think about it. And then if ChatGPT doesn't agree, then you should agree with ChatGPT. What the fuck?
Dude.
Hold on. We shared on a previous podcast. Let me see if I can just pull it up. Let's see how quickly I can pull up this thing. Oh, check out how fast I am, Mitchell. Check out how fast I am. Mitchell, I'm the fastest. Look at this. Right. I found exactly what I was looking for. Wharton's latest study, latest AI study points to a hard truth. AI writes, humans review, model is breaking down. And let me just scroll down to the hot stuff here. When you use it enough, something happens that they call cognitive surrender.
Ding, 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 ding.
AI gives an answer, you stop really questioning it, and your brain starts treating that output as your own conclusion. It does not feel outsourced. It feels self-generated. Sam Harris, you are a fucking idiot. Okay, that's all. Thanks.
Yeah.
It's like you think the other person's stupid. So you're like, hey, look what ChatGPT said. Because when they see it's an AI, they'll have cognitive surrender and they'll just kind of be like, okay, yeah, I guess you're right, And I'm like, but I would rather just have a conversation with the person.
Yeah.
And so like Joe already talked to Brett Weinstein for like 5 hours. Why do I need to have AI summarize for me all the problems with what I said? Like, why don't you just ask me on that point right there? Like, he's just jealous that Brett Weinstein is getting through in some capacity, right? About some particular thing, right? But Sam Harris was the guy who said he wouldn't have a problem if they found dead bodies in, what's his name? Hunter Biden's basement, right? He was like, because he really didn't want Trump to win. Because they were talking about the Hunter Biden laptop thing.
Didn't Sam Harris get popular because he was like all about meditation or something and like stilling the mind?
I think probably so.
That's his
He's an
premise.
atheist, but he also he has a book called I can't remember what it's called, but it's basically saying that like yourself is an illusion. That free will is an illusion, right?
No.
Joe Rogan, free will is an illusion, but take off that Brett Weinstein podcast. No, Katie, we did not talk about Joe Rogan and the psychedelics yet, but
Oh yeah, Trump is trying to fast track FDA approval of psychedelic treatments.
Okay, so that's the story there. To me, the story is Joe Rogan sends a little study to Trump, and Trump goes, "Do you want FDA approval? We could do this right now. Let's do it, baby."
he also probably knows he's losing favor with the Joe Rogan types because he's
They've been
fucking
saying that. They're like, why did I vote for this guy? I thought we weren't going to do any wars.
I never said we were not going to do any wars. I said we would do the wars fast, we would do them quick, we would strike like a hammer, and we will establish peace in the Middle East. I never said any of those things either, but I'm just saying them now.
I'm saying what I didn't say.
Um,
I'm saying what I would have said.
Okay, all right. I've got some stuff for you. If you don't have anything, I've got things. I know Mitchell has a plan.
hang on, I got one for you here. This.
Okay, go ahead, Mitchell.
You know, earlier we were talking about statements.
Yeah.
This right here. Oh, I'll just show you this one.
No new wars. No new wars.
Well, actually, though, it's not a new war. He said we've been fighting this war since.
Oh yeah, sorry.
46 or 48 or something.
That's all right.
So it's like all rhetoric, right? So we're not starting a new war. We're finishing a really old, long, ongoing war.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. That's what's
Gotcha.
happening.
No refund.
Gotcha. All right, here you go. This is for you, Cameron and Mitchell.
Thanks, Drake. Wow.
Yeah.
Do you do IQ tester?
Yep, that's what we do.
Okay, because I think I need one.
Okay, yeah, we can do that. Why do you need one?
Well, I've had some people lately telling me I have a low IQ.
Ooh, shots fired. Gosh. Who's been telling you that?
Well, some people online have been telling me that, like the president, and even my dogs are looking at me a little bit condescendingly now.
Well, we'll find out. So with this IQ test, I'll just ask you a series of simple, really common sense questions, and you just give me your best answer.
I'm actually kind of a little bit nervous right now.
Oh yeah, you should be, because if you turn out to be what some would call a low IQ nut job, then you're pretty much a lost cause.
Well, that doesn't sound good.
All right, first question. Which word doesn't belong? Apple, banana, carrot, orange.
Is it carrot?
Very good, because it's not a fruit and all. It's clever. Next question. Who would be considered more of a traitor to their country? Person A, who receives $230 million from a foreign lobby, or person B, who receives $0 from a foreign lobby?
I mean, clearly person A.
Wrong.
Come on, that's got to be correct.
Next, hypothetical question. If a country has a major shipping waterway that you want to have open, and it's currently open, but they'll close it if you go to war, what would be a smart way to ensure that waterway stays open?
You don't go to war with them.
No, not even close. I mean, common sense would say go to war with that country and stay at war with that country as a way of putting pressure on them to reopen it after they've closed it because you went to war with them.
Are you playing with a full deck?
I don't play cards, but thanks for asking. Oh, and this is a good one. If you had the desire to take down an international pedophile ring, what would be the best way to follow through on that desire?
Well, you launch a full investigation using every means necessary, and then you prosecute those bastards the fullest extent of the law.
Wrong. No. You would launch an effort to prevent any investigations and prosecutions.
That can't be right.
Well, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
These questions are kind of weird.
Oh, I assure you, these are standardized IQ test questions, sir. Next question. Here's a scenario. You got a person, they work for America and America only. What country does that person work for?
America?
That's incorrect. They work for Iran. Next question. Who's more beautiful as a woman? France's First Lady, or maybe man, or Candace Owens?
Candace Owens?
No.
Have you seen France's First Lady?
I would totally do her. If she had an OnlyFans, I would subscribe. Any reasonable man would. Okay, how would you describe what America First means?
Putting America's interests first above any other foreign nation.
No, you're actually describing anti-Semitism. Yuck. Okay, last question. What year did we first land on the moon?
We've never been to the moon.
No, we've been to the moon. We go all the time. Well, your test is complete. I've never seen a score like this before.
What'd I get?
You got an IQ of 65.
Is that high?
No, that's a very low IQ.
My life is literally ruined. He was right.
Who was right?
Just don't worry about that now. My big question is, what am I going to do with my life now that I've learned that I am so stupid?
Well, just remember, you're also a nut job. But yeah, you're pretty screwed. Really, the only option I can give low IQ people such as yourself is to go off and open a Somali daycare.
I am completely devastated.
Isn't it weird that Alex Jones can't act?
It is kind of weird.
It's kind of weird. Almost.
I was kind of surprised.
You'd expect more, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Well, if you want to prevent your own low IQ, we can give you a reading assessment. Just DM me.
Mitch has a solution for you, Alex.
For anyone
great.
watching.
That's great.
Yeah.
Funny.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's what's going on, Mitch. Here's the real deal, right?
I'm ready.
So what's happening with these people is they are
Which people? Epstein
all,
Island?
yeah, all the people.
Okay. Hey, does this okay? Because I've been seeing this thing about these 10 or 11 nuclear physicists who have been dying. Is this
We'll get
related?
to that. We'll get to that.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So the elite. Remember when we went over the Chinaman and Egypt, the Egyptian mythology?
Oh, how could I forget?
And he was like, if you just read the story, it doesn't really make sense. But if you see it as a training manual for how to create a psychopath, basically, then this is actually a great manual that has been used for many years, throughout different cultures for their, ability to control the elite, right? Yes. However, man, Mitch, I don't know if you heard Cam going in on this on the cruise, but he brought up a really good point. Or maybe it wasn't on the cruise. Maybe it was when you got back. I don't know. Anyway, at some point, Cam made this really cool connection. Check this out. All right. So what did we learn about the Egyptians, right? What did they do to the pharaohs or the pharaohs that were going?
They put them through a ritual where they fucked them up and then basically created a multiple personality.
Right. So they introduced like some sounds or some scents or some like imagery.
Drugs.
Yeah, and some drugs. They will like drown the person, bring them like close to death. They'll cut them. They'll give them some sort of sexual experience, all of this stuff, right? To create some sort of trauma so that it introduces a certain personality that they can then predict what that personality will do. They can control that personality to a certain extent, right? And then when that, maybe it's a child and then they become the pharaoh or whatever, when they become the actual pharaoh and they want to make a decision, the priests who are behind the pharaoh, they want the pharaoh to choose something that will go in line with what they have planned. Then they know, I've got to introduce this scent, or I've got to introduce this sexual, sort of.
No, they just do a ritual that symbolically activates that personality.
Okay, there you go.
That's like the particular rituals they would do at certain times would activate that.
Like Easter time, Christmas time kind of vibe, or
right, totally. Like some kind of ritual, and it might be something they do as like a private ceremony, but it could also just be like, it's this festival, but all the symbology or symbolism within it were pre-programmed into the pharaoh as like that activates that personality to come forward to perform a certain function, because the pharaoh was chosen because they have a certain resonance, and usually it's a genetic line. They have a certain resonance that people follow. So I think a good example of this is like Britney Spears, where, like if you look at how messed up she is, like in her personal life, it's because she's been really heavily traumatized and drugged a lot and so forth. But when it's like time, it's like, all right, Britney, it's time, showtime. Like she gets out there and everyone's like in awe, captivated by her ability to dance and sing and perform, which makes a lot of money. So you can imagine she has one function, which is that, right? But the pharaoh could have multiple functions that he would do, but he has that resonance that people follow like a celebrity. So like when they see the pharaoh, they're just like, oh, my pharaoh, or, my king, whatever. They go into like a resonance of submission, and then the pharaoh can command them to increase the harvest or, build a temple or whatever the thing is.
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay, now here's where it gets interesting, right? What does everyone experience, like during holidays?
Yeah, it's the zeitgeist, the spirit of the times.
It's like you're being impulsed. Actually, like when you watched Hercules, you got traumatized a little bit, right? Think about how many Disney movies actually. Giselle sent me one time. How many
percentage
Disney
breakdown
movies?
of how many have one or zero parents?
It was a crazy amount of
dude.
Disney movies that they kill off the parents, right?
Yeah.
And who are these movies targeting? Children.
Yeah.
Yes, the children. Here, let's see. Giselle said, Disney killed parents in 22 films. And it's not a coincidence. Here we go. Let me share this real quick.
They're either killed or in some cases they're just non-existent or
Right.
they're separated from the kid.
Disney killed parents in 22 films. Not a coincidence. Psychologists say it's a deliberate script. No shit. But the reason's darker than you think. It kind of looks like what's that girl from Harry Potter? Bambi, Lion King, Finding Nemo, Frozen, Cinderella, Tarzan, Moana, Lilo and Stitch,
It's like the first scene in some of these movies.
Raya and the Last Dragon. I don't know that one. The Little Mermaid.
Oh, it said Bambi. Yeah.
Yeah. Parent dies or disappears before the story even begins.
Yeah.
It seems like it was. written
You
by
know, another thing I
ChatGPT.
was thinking about was, if you think about Century of the Self, right? So the pharaohs, the priests rather, that manage the pharaoh, they are the ones who really understand the occult symbolism, like the true meaning of the symbols and the purpose of them. So like they're trained and they pass down that knowledge to each other. They're really the ones who manage the pharaoh and are directing the affairs of, that civilization. And so they have the understanding of what these stories actually mean and what's the purpose of them. Now, if you fast forward to, like the 20th century, who are the priests, right? The priests would be sort of, in a certain sense, the people who understand public relations and marketing, right? So they know what that symbol of the parents dying really produces. Do you see what I'm saying? And then you have, what's the word I'm looking for? Whatever realm you call like focus groups and what do they call that? Like market research, right? Because the system is so complex, you don't really know at any time how people are being programmed because it's all like feeding back on itself, right? But it's like you put this information out there, people go through a certain generation, they've been programmed with certain things, and then you can do market research to see like what symbols are still resonating with people so that you can put those in your advertisements, in your movies, and so forth, so that you're constantly keeping everybody running certain patterns because they're just trying to keep the economy running. It's really all it is. Just like what was the purpose of the pharaoh and the priests? They're just keeping that economy of that civilization running. So the priests, the pharaoh is now all the celebrities, right? All the politicians. They're like the pharaoh. And then you have the psychologists, the public relations, all of that side of things is like the priests. They understand how the symbols interact with people, and then they can put those into ads. They can use those to get the certain politicians elected. And then they can even, it's like Trump is apparently very interested in the polls, right? So certain polls can be created that even influence him to think, oh, no one cares about Epstein. They actually don't. Like most people actually don't care about it. Most people actually don't care about Palantir. Most people don't care about UFOs actually. So here this is what people care about. They care about gas prices. Okay, so he's like, all right, I'll talk about gas prices because that's what symbolically people care about. So if I just keep saying our gas prices are getting lower and they've gotten so lower and all that, people like still give him their allegiance or whatever, right? So I'm just seeing like how it's still happening today, obviously, but it's in a way that's so distributed it's hard to see because you don't have a pharaoh in the priest class, but that's been like distributed over a much larger section of our, economy and our world and so forth.
Right, exactly. Okay, so now continuing on, Mitchell.
Right.
So that is part of the reason, at least in part, why the elite like to abuse children. It's just in part, though, right? The other part is like they're getting energy from them, obviously. But then it also goes even further to like, okay, if we're looking at Epstein, right? What are they actually trying to do? Why are they doing all of this stuff? What's the purpose behind like the pedophile ring? Well, you could say pedophile ring in quotes, right? You could say, well, it's just his blackmail on, all these other wealthy people or whatever, right? So that he can continue to be wealthy or use his influence. And sure, to an extent, that's definitely going on, right? But it's more than just that. It's more than just like compromat or whatever. Because And this is why Giorgiani says like it's kind of like the distraction.
Hang on. There's a word you just said right there that this is one of those words that nobody knows what it is.
Compromise.
Compromising material.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like blackmail.
It's a Russian word.
Yeah. I like it. It's a cool word.
Oh, it's a great word. I'm just for our fans, you know.
Yeah. No,
Like,
I hear you.
imagine you're at the annual company meeting, right? And you have people that want to partner with you, and they're like, okay, you know, we're ready to do the deal. It's like, hold on. We need to make sure we have your allegiance. So they like bring in some strippers or whatever. This is probably what happens at Davos every fucking year. And then they get you on film. So now they have that, and then you're in the club. But don't go against them.
Just strippers.
Probably way more fucked up shit than that.
Yeah, I would agree. Okay. Anyway, where was I?
Although,
with
did you
that?
guys see Eric Swalwell? He was running for governor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
and I didn't even know about this. And then I saw it was like we were on the cruise. It was a couple days in, and I saw this thing going around like we have this. Apparently, there's a video of Eric Swalwell, and I was like, who gives a shit about Eric Swalwell? It's so random. But I didn't know he was running for governor. And then the next day, they were like, here's the video, and it was like going around. I was like, what the hell is this? It's so weird. It was like him with a woman like on a bed in a hotel. He was like grabbing her and stuff, you know. But he's married, and then the next day, I see a statement saying he's suspending his campaign for governor. And I was like, oh, damn, I didn't realize he was running for governor. And then the next day I saw he was resigning from Congress.
Damn.
I was like,
really got him.
whoa. Yeah. So you just see like how that all works, right?
Yeah. No, that, see, like, okay.
Why were they videotaping? It wasn't like a secret. It wasn't like it was like clearly like a hidden camera. It was like someone holding a phone. So it you know, and there was that video I had sent you guys. I forget the guy's name, but the way he had described it was, it really made it click. It's like, it's not like these politicians, you know, have weird lives, and some of them maybe they do, but it's not just that they are like doing these things and then, you know, someone happens to record them. This guy was saying in many cases, it's like this person has that Pharaoh resonance to some degree that they want to use. They want to put that person there. So they basically make a deal with them like, hey, come, like you said, come to this party. We're going to do all this stuff. We're going to film you. And maybe they don't explicitly tell you. Maybe they do. Maybe you realize they're doing it. I don't know. But like, you know, why would you be like, sure, knowing that you could be filmed? It's because you don't care, because you know you're going to get the position if you go along and like you show that you're a part of the club, like you'll do whatever. And, you know, you're also maybe enticed by it. But then once they have that compromising material, then they're like, cool, now we've got the compromising material. Hey, you got the job. So I just realized it's not just these politicians work their way up and then they're trying to find something on them. It's like they usually don't get into the position unless they have that something compromising on them. And it's kind of like a part of the deal in a way.
Yeah, because it's like, if at some point you do some shit that I've got to pull the plug, I've got the plug to pull.
Yeah. I put you there because I have the material.
Right.
You know, it's not just and also it's like with someone like that, you know, they're willing to do whatever. You know, think about Marquis de Sade, right? They know that you'll be willing to stand in that position and you'll be more excited by wielding power and hurting people than at some point being like, you know, this really isn't best. We really shouldn't shut down that water plant. A lot of people might die or something. And they're like, dude, what are you fucking talking about? Who cares? You know, like that would be, they would want the person who'd be like, yeah, do it. You know, like go look at videos of Lindsey Graham talking about the war and stuff. It's like, he's like, yeah, we're gonna bomb them back to the Stone Age. Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, it makes perfect sense. Why is he fucking hanging around at Disneyland by himself or Disney World by himself? It's weird.
Eating ice cream.
Yeah, it's just so weird. Like, why is this 80-year-old dude who's not married, no kids, never had kids, nothing, like at Disney World by himself, walking around with a princess wand? It's super weird.
It's literally like, you know, these people are like gremlins and trolls, and I mean that in the sense of like they sound like disgusting people you'd never want to be around, because they are, right? And at the same time, they're the ones who are willing to do that dirty work, and so they get put into those positions, right? And that's basically how our system currently functions. That's how our system currently functions. And so if you're going to be at these high levels in the current system anyway, that's what it takes. And so like that's kind of a there was this dude, did you see this Tim Dillon talking about Melania? Did you see that?
I don't know.
Because Melania basically she was saying
Talking about the Epstein thing.
yeah.
I haven't seen what you're talking about, but I'm aware of her talking
Okay,
about Epstein,
okay.
which was so weird.
Okay, so she says, and Tim Dillon does a really great job of it, but she goes, this associating my name with the Epstein is not, it's wrong, and then she goes on to say, we have in our circles we go to parties and there are many of the same people overlapping in these parties.
Why are they
Everybody
there?
knows everybody,
Why are they?
right? What?
Why are they there?
Right. But Tim Dillon goes, he's like, his commentary on it is like, so what she's saying is, when you're this wealthy and this beautiful, everybody's the same. Everybody knows everybody. You wouldn't know that because you're not beautiful or wealthy. So the only parties you get invited to are your Uncle Jim's, and it's a sad party, But you don't get invited to these cool parties that all the cool kids go to. And yeah, that guy's there, and we all know that. But that's normal, So, but you wouldn't know that because you're
But that
you're
doesn't
not
mean
beautiful,
I'm doing things with him necessarily.
right?
But that is it is probably in a certain sense true because you see all these pictures where it's like Jeffrey Epstein standing next to Melania. That's like I went to a Justin Bieber concert and I was able to take a picture next to him. Like now suddenly it proves I was friends with him and I knew him and we were, like it's just you took a picture with the person.
I think it's more like you go to a networking event
Right.
and then you see like, oh, you're here. Can I take a photo with you?
Yeah, exactly. Like, look, me and Patrick Bet-David. See, this proves like we're buddies. It's like, no, it doesn't. You just went to the event and he was taking pictures of the people. It doesn't prove
Exactly.
remember, you know what I'm talking about, Mitch.
I know this. The whole
People do
thing.
the same shit.
Mitchell has lots of photos. Remember that the congressman or
That's what I'm
whatever.
talking about.
Yeah.
Mark Fincham. I'm his buddy.
Yeah, and everybody's
Best friends.
Everybody's like, see, he's got the ear of congressman. but look, people actually believe
Yeah, I
that.
know.
shit.
I wish.
You know?
How many people believe it? Probably no one actually. It's
But I
fucking
think that's
bots.
what she's addressing is that point of like, look, just because they were at a party, everybody was at the fucking party. It's like,
Right.
you not know how the elite functions? Go watch Hunger Games. Go watch any of these movies. Like, it's a party and all the people are there. Yeah. Okay, but I feel like there's something we're leaving out with the whole Epstein thing. Maybe you're getting to that. Was there more you wanted to add to the point about?
Yeah, what were you gonna say?
Well, just kind of adding more context to it, like, which there's so much.
There's too much context.
It's too. I know it's too much, but anyways, it's just, the podcast is like stimulation, right? You can go look and do your own research or whatever. We're just offering some tidbits, all right? But it was really interesting going into the Giorgiani stuff because on the one hand, his whole thing is just basically exposing the fact that the power structures, which is stuff we've talked about, like nothing that he said was like suddenly new information. But just the way he connected it was like it was really cool because, when you study destiny, there's a lot of stuff that from a certain perspective, you can be like, man, this is kind of out there, But that is only happening because, okay, for example, let's say somebody went to medical school their whole life, right? And they were super in the medical system. All their knowledge of being a doctor was from the medical system. And then somebody comes along and says, oh, I use homeopathy. How would that doctor react to that?
Yeah, they'd be
Right.
like,
They'd be like,
that's you fucking
out there, kooky, weird. Come on.
snake
Like,
oil
that's
salesman.
right. But it's because all of their understanding of a particular thing was in a very specific format, right? So imagine it's the 1900s, whatever, right? And everybody's, all about Newtonian physics, right? And then these weirdos over here are like, actually the way reality works is it's quantum mechanical, and light can be both a particle and a wave, and actually the observer affects the experiment. It's not like you're just observing something as what's really happening. In your observation, you're actually influencing what you see. They'd be like, who are these weirdos? Like, come on, like, what do you... So, but it's because they were using a certain sort of paradigm and way of thinking. And so anything that comes up that's like, could technically be a real fact, it doesn't fit into the language of how you were already assuming things are the way things exist. So it seems out there. And until an entire theory is built that actually explains it very completely, nobody will start taking it seriously. Right.
Right.
So the whole thing about Giorgiani is he's putting together all the dots of all the paranormal type stuff that exists out there, which includes UFOs, which I had never thought about it like that. Although at the same time I had, because I would always talk about UFOs and stuff of like, do you really think they're just aliens from another planet? Like they could be interdimensional objects.
Right.
But I never considered that really is technically... I just never thought about saying it like this, is my point. It really is connecting the point of paranormal, psychic ability type stuff, telepathy, remote viewing, astral travel, all of that, UFOs, and he even is connecting the points about Atlantis. Now, his ideas about Atlantis are not totally clear, but he's looking at it more from the perspective of it's always been a part of the myth. But the point being that civilization was reset at some point, right? And so there's that, which means the history we've been taught is only a very limited version of history, right? Because you either think we evolved from apes up to our current civilization, which means there's no room for like an Atlantis or any other civilizations, or 1,000,000 years ago there was people colonized on Mars. You'd be like, how would that be possible? We never developed space travel. We know when we developed space travel, so how could that have happened? But again, that's in the context of the story of history that you've been taught. Or you believe, like you're a Christian and you believe it was Adam and Eve, and it says in the Bible they begat so-and-so who begat so-and-so who begat so-and-so who led to Jesus, who led to this and that. Like, we have all the begats. So there's no Atlantis in the begatting, right? When did they begat Atlantis? They never did, right? When did they begat the Mars colonizing people? Like, there was not, whatever. So in other words, we have these two alternate versions of history, neither of which Atlantis or any kind of other extraterrestrial type stuff fits into. But then, of course, if you look at Gnosticism, or you look at other alternative religions and philosophies, or all the Greek myths, or all of the Hindu myths and so forth, and you read them differently outside of the framing that we were taught as what history is, you start seeing like, oh, actually, even in the Bible, it talks about these beings that came and mingled with the sons of man. Like, that's weird. Oh, no, but they're just angels. Like, sure, maybe they're angels, but what are angels actually? You don't, and then you have, well, there's this story about the fallen and this and that. Like, so you're sort of like narrowed into a certain way of thinking about it. Okay, so Giorgiani's basically like, all of these things are pointing to the fact that there's a layer of reality or layers of reality outside of our normal perception, right? But since, let's say, Descartes, or even before that, whoever, science has been channeled into a very specific narrow focus where we believe only things that we observe with scientific instruments can even have the possibility of being real or affecting reality in any way. But the really interesting thing he explains is anything that's in the supernatural. Okay, but do the Catholic Church, Christianity has been here the whole time, even with science, right? Mm-hmm. So there's still a place where supernatural things happen,
right?
But that's purely the domain of the church,
right?
So, like an atheist scientist might say, "Oh, that's all hocus pocus bullshit," right? But because the church exists, and because we might have experiences that cannot be explained in the normal scientific paradigm, those are left to the realm of faith in God. And like, you don't really have any way of understanding all that like, you have to go to the priest can describe what that really is and so forth. So actually the Catholic Church is way more open to demons, for example, demonic influence, whereas the psychologists are like, no, it's purely a mental phenomenon, right? But the Catholics and some Christians are like, no, there's like another realm that exists outside of what we can perceive like scientifically, but it's all captured purely as a supernatural thing. It has, you as a human being cannot access that and have that make effects in the world. You can't have psychic abilities or paranormal type abilities where you can actually tap into that other reality. So it's kind of like you're just limited to like, well, I'm just a person and I have to go to work and I have to, do all the things that are considered normal kind of observable reality. And there's no influence of that in our world at a personal level. Go ahead.
Think about, okay, so I'm just like going back to the comment that you said on your post about the Antichrist, right? Where this woman's like, oh, well, that can't be best for all because I used to not believe in God because I was under a communist dictatorship, whatever, and I wasn't allowed to. And then I had an experience or whatever, so now I believe in God.
Right.
That monopoly on the paranormal means any experience you have, ergo God.
That's in some way beyond your normal perceptions of things. It's been captured and framed into, you saw God.
As opposed to you have an ability that no one's explained to you, you don't understand it, and now you're experiencing that ability and you don't know how to describe it, but maybe you would look into it and you go, oh, I realize that I can tell what people are thinking sometimes, or whatever, just making up an ability here, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just saying that because it's like, if it was something that like, okay, imagine it like this, Mitch, right? Imagine you didn't know that you could talk, right? You could hear your own thoughts in your head, but then all of a sudden you start talking and you're like, oh, sometimes I move my mouth and like other people can hear the things in my head. And then they start doing those things that I was saying. That's a connection to God. Like what else can explain it? As opposed to it being like you were moving your mouth, you were vibrating the sound, they could hear that sound, and then they acted on that.
Mm-hmm. Let me give you two stories that happened in my life, okay? Well, let's say three. Okay, three. One, it's two separate contexts. Okay, so I'll give you the first context. And this is something I think a lot of people can relate to, which is, and I was talking to Drake about this, like, there's been many times where I've been like sitting on the couch reading a book, and then I'll randomly think about somebody from my past. Someone that I haven't talked to in many years, that I haven't been connected to, that they're not involved with anything that I'm doing currently. And I'll just start thinking about them, and I'll kind of be going down memory lane for a moment about thinking about them and like, oh yeah, I wonder what they're doing and so forth. And, I haven't talked to them in a long time. And then like the next day they'll call me or they'll message me, right? That's happened many times, like not like 1,000 times, but I would say like 20 times that I can remember. Like, you could say, well, that's just coincidence. And it could just be coincidence. I'm not claiming that it isn't coincidence, but also I'm not assuming it isn't or that it is, whatever. Yeah. So, but my point is, I would always, and Katie knows this, I would always tell her like, dude, I'm telling you, like, I was thinking about this person and then they called me. Like, I didn't tell her every single time, but there's a few times where I made a point about it because it was such a weird coincidence. Right. And so other than it being a coincidence, you could say I was aware that the person was going to call me and that's why I was thinking about them. Right. So in a sense, hypothetically, there's just a level of ability that we have that you can tap into information and become aware of it. And that's why that thought popped up, because it was like, it was already manifesting. Right now, that's not something I can control. I can't sit here and be like, okay, maybe you could develop the ability, but I'm just saying for myself personally, I know that I can't sit here and be like, all right, I'm going to predict who's going to call me tomorrow. Like I can't do that. It's something that happens randomly. Okay. But it just kind of gives you a hint that, maybe there's something else. But science would be like, nope, it was just a coincidence. But the thing is...
Did you ever look into Rupert Sheldrake?
Well, that's what I was actually...
Morphogenetic
I was
field?
literally going to say that. Right?
Okay. What a coincidence! Shit. That was
Right.
live on camera. We got it.
But the point is, Rupert Sheldrake tested these things rigorously. Now, and he showed that there are these effects. Like there was an experiment, and Giorgiani talks about it in his book, but you can go and look at Sheldrake's lectures. But he talks about this one experiment where it's called telephone telepathy, right? Kind of like exactly what I was talking about, which was what made me think about those experiences again, where they have some number of people who they're in different places and they're going to call each other on the phone. And right before the call, like 10 minutes before, they tell the person, you're going to be the one receiving the call. You're going to be the person making the call. And then right before when the call is made, the person who's receiving the call, and then the other people are told you're not making the call. So right before the call is made, when it's made, before they pick it up, the person has to say to the researchers who they think's calling them. And then they have to answer the phone and say, hi, John, and then find out if it is or not. And apparently what they found was that the nature of the setup, if it was just chance, then 25% of the time the person should be right? If it was just pure chance. But they found out it was like 42% of the time they would actually be right. It's like way over what you would expect from random chance. And there's been many experiments like this in many different contexts. Like he goes into a lot of detail about some really interesting ones that were done by people other than Sheldrake, where they were able to affect like the output of random number generators and stuff like that, like all kinds of stuff, right? So, but of course, no scientist will take that seriously because they already assume it's not possible. Therefore, there must be some fuckery going on. Even probably the average person hearing me say this is like, yeah, I don't know. That's weird, but obviously it's not really that way. But why do you know it's not that way? Because our system has framed everything and conditioned us to accept that the realm of any kind of supernatural weird stuff is either not real at all or is purely the domain of faith, which means you have to go through an authority to really understand and have any influence on that, right? So like miracles, you can't do miracles. God can do miracles, right? And maybe he doesn't even do them anymore. But if anybody's claiming to do miracles, that's some kind of trick they're doing, right? So then you think about the stories of like the Bible where Moses throws his staff down and it becomes like a snake, right? But then the Pharaoh comes in and he's like, I got guys that can do that. And then they throw their thing down and it becomes a snake. But then Moses eats the snake and it's like, see, but you're not as powerful as my God. But like, maybe they were really doing that. Maybe they could like, I don't know. So, but Christians would believe and Jews would believe that they really did. So they're okay with that. Scientists are not. Okay. So,
Let me. Can I add something?
Sure,
in?
yeah.
Or okay.
no, go ahead.
Isn't it interesting? I think they're called the autism tapes, or something like that.
Oh yeah. I remember hearing about this. We might've mentioned
Yeah.
it.
Right.
Telepathy tapes. they're called.
Telepathy tapes.
I never listened to it, but
Okay,
yeah.
telepathy tapes. But it's based on like the kids being autistic, nonverbal, and then they're like investigating whether they have some psi ability, right? Some psychic ability where they can predict actual things that are happening and communicate that with their mom or whatever, whoever their main caretaker is. But isn't it interesting that that's being promoted right now? And I think there is a certain case for the elite do have some belief that the nonverbal autistics or whatever could potentially have this psychic ability. In fact, when I'm saying some belief, I mean there's a whole fucking slew of experiments that they've done, like MK Ultra, and then there's like really specific ones where it's like targeting children specifically. Like what was it called, the Gate experiment or things like that, where they're targeting children to see, okay, what kind of psychic abilities do children have before they're abused potentially, and then after they're abused.
Well, the thing is, if you do the abuse point from the perspective of creating dissociative identities, then if you have somebody who has certain abilities, then you can also control them as well.
Right.
You can activate them, right? There was this one story, and see, the thing is, again, immediately everyone's mind goes to, oh, this sounds really out there, right? But if you start going into and looking into all the government programs, that have been declassified, where they were seriously putting money into developing remote viewing capabilities. And like they did rigorous experimentation on shit and like remote viewed the moon and remote viewed Mars and remote viewed, like there was, dude, like read Prometheus and Atlas. You'll see exactly what I'm saying. He's very specific in showing all this. And then it like opens up all these rabbit holes you can go down. On the stream last night, I was showing, because I was talking about UFO stuff. There was this declassified document from 2019. I don't think I have it up anymore. It was from 2019. And it was like John McCain talking to Harry Reid. And then they were responding to Reid's request for a list of government programs under the aviation something threat assessment something by the Defense Intelligence Agency. And then they gave a list of like 37 projects that had been funded. And it was shit like traversable wormholes, dark energy matter manipulation, high energy lasers, remote mind control of robotic technology. There was one thing they were doing research on of the limits of one human mind to be able to remote control multiple, unmanned vehicles, because like you could control one, but being able to control like a fleet of them, like how far can one person be pushed? It was like wild stuff. And it was like saying they were products meaning like the research, I think, by specific government funding. And they were like wanting to get that list, and then they had it. And there was even one of them where it was listed twice.
Yeah.
And the first one was listed and the classification was secret, and then it was crossed out, and then they had listed it again and it was classified unclassified. Right. So just showing that like clearly some of these were even classified from the beginning. But it was like all this crazy stuff, like the stuff that you would think just conspiracy theorists or just like fantasizing about. Like the government is doing serious research into all these things, and probably shit that we're not even aware of.
Dude, I'm just thinking of like, okay, because this now gets to what Mitch was asking about before about the scientists, right? Who are all of a sudden either dying or missing, right? There's like been 11 of them since 2024. And if you go back to 2022, that, what's her name? Amy Eskridge or something like that. And she's talking to like a bunch of people in a room, and she's saying, well, yeah, I mean, there's actually like billionaires and stuff that are funding these projects. And then she's also explaining how a lot of these projects, what ends up happening is they'll get some like government funding, and the government funding is like, hey, work on this project for us. Okay, great. They start working on that project. They find some interesting solutions, and then the government comes in and they say, okay, now that's classified. Can't talk about it.
No, that's not what they say. They cancel your project.
No, they cancel the project.
What she was saying is like they develop a solution to a particular problem, like some genius researcher. They'll develop a solution like in a theoretical way, and then they cancel the project. She said, but when they cancel it, what they actually do is take the solution, they move it underground, like in a classified setting, and then they work on the application. And then they go to the scientists and say, here's another problem to work on. So you have like the genius solving the problem, but they never let him work on the application. And she was talking about it being sort of like a dopamine hacking, where it's like they always keep the person like searching for that thing that they can finally create this amazing technology, but they never let you actually get to the next level of it.
Yeah.
And then what they do in the government is, it was the Mansfield Act in like 1973, where basically, and this is also relevant to that Senate or that Representative Burchett. He was explaining this too, where he said, I think the government doesn't have the technology anymore, whatever these advanced technologies that have been developed, because what they've done is they've given them to like Lockheed Martin. They've given them to, right. And this goes back to what we talked about with like Facebook and all these things, where the government develops to a certain point, and then it goes into the private sector where you now can't do FOIA requests on whatever the fuck it is they're developing.
Right.
It's like it's within company secrets now. Right.
That's what Austin's saying right here. No FOIA if some other company owns it instead of the FBI.
Exactly. Right. So now you can't really request any information. So you only get like, oh yeah, we funded a project researching that, but yeah, it was canceled. But then you go look at Oracle. Oracle started as funding from the government, like all of these different things, right? So you can kind of see how it's like, We no
Yeah.
longer have any access to it, and the companies can develop it. And then the companies end up having the superior technology, and they can actually influence the government,
Yeah.
right? So where was I going to go with that point about the paranormal stuff?
Yeah, you had said the story about yourself, then you'd said
There was another story I wanted to tell. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'll tell you another story. When I was younger, probably like 13 or 14, right? Long story short, like things would happen. I'd get in trouble for stuff, and it wasn't even that I was necessarily doing something bad. It was just I had so much emotional issues when I was a kid that like I wouldn't want to do things that my parents asked me to do. I would be punished for it. And I wasn't able to communicate with them. They weren't able to understand me. There was no support for like, oh, you're just having like this extreme emotional issue, and that's why you're not like cooperating or whatever. So I'd be punished, and it would usually be some kind of punishment where I would be like, put into a room and made to sit there for like days and not like allowed to come out, kind of a thing, right? Like they would let me eat and stuff like that, right? But to me, it was like I just didn't want to be there, right? And it was just the emotional turmoil was just continuing to go, and so it felt like being imprisoned, right? And I really wanted to get out of it. And my dad's like, you're gonna have to sit there for 3 days. Like, this was really bad what you did, so you got to stay in this prison basically for 3 days, and you can't come out, and you can't do anything. You can't play any video games. You can't read any books. Like, you can't do anything if you just sit there and like think about what you did or whatever. Okay, so, but I'll just give you an example of like I really didn't want to be there, and I was told it's going to be 3 days, right? The first day, I'm just like, I can't take this. I don't want to be here. Like, fuck this, right? And I would pray, right? I would pray that I would somehow get out of it, right? Very like intensely, right? Even to the point in 2 cases where I was like, God, if you're real, just get me out of this situation, and I will always believe in you, because I never believed in God, right? And I also knew there wasn't a God. So it was like, but I was like using that as a form of like very intense, like, if you're real, I'll believe in you forever kind of thing, right? So then I would intensely do that, and then my dad come in and he'd be like, I've been thinking about it, and actually it's okay. You can come out or whatever. And I'd be like, hell yeah. And I'd be like, yeah, God's not real. Fuck that. Like, I just did that. So I would like kind of know I did it, right? But my point being is I knew I was just like, now I couldn't tell you how it happened. Like, how did I influence my dad? Like, maybe it was a coincidence, right? But it was like a very intense focus. And this happened maybe, I could think of 3 specific times that I did that. And it wasn't necessarily always about God per se. Well, no, actually it was like those 3 times, right? Now, if I was dishonest with myself, I'd be like, see, God answered my prayer. Right? Okay, and that's one interpretation. But no God showed up. No God talked to me. Just literally the situation changed, right? And so what I'm getting at is we have ways of influencing reality, but because of the vocabulary framing of it, then when you get the result, you're like, see, that was God. God really is real. But you don't know that that's what it was, because it was pretty clear to me it was just self-hypnosis. Like, it was just, and let's just say you do have an ability to influence things around you when you intensely focus. And I think that's what the occultists realized, right? Now, they still might have some framework in their mind that it was like another entity that was helping them or whatever. But my point is just that I can see how people have these experiences, but then they accept that, it's almost like, well, if I say it wasn't God actually, but I said if God helped me, then I would believe in him. And now if I don't anymore, I won't be able to use that power anymore.
It's that OCD.
Do you see what I mean? Where it's like,
Yeah.
well, I got to keep believing in God, and then you build it up in yourself, and then you accept it and so forth, right? But
Sorry, I gotta pick this cup up and put it
Right.
back down. And like I said,
But my
save
point
family's
is
life.
like everybody in the world basically is like not realizing they can actually influence reality much more than they're aware of.
And what I would imagine it is, what I would guess it is let's say these elite are whatever at Bohemian Grove praying to some fucking entity, or the Christians are in church praying to Yahweh. That ability to intensely focus, like that creates almost a residue. And if you accumulate that for generations and generations, right? Because your parents were Christian, your grandparents were Christian, etc. It's like you're almost creating a entity of sorts, but it's still just a reflection of the people praying. It's not necessarily a real
That actually
entity
goes
out
into
there.
the Sheldrake thing,
Yeah.
right? Because he talks about morphic
There's a
resonance.
word for this. I've heard of it
Morphic
before.
resonance. Morphic resonance.
Okay. Yeah.
Where-
Where it'd be a
where
morphic resonant entity, basically.
Like exactly. It's so the example would be, so imagine we've created all these entities that now that I've done the work of like putting all this intense focus and like forming
Dude,
that entity.
Think about them with fucking Palantir. Like J.R. Tolkien, whatever, in the 1950s was writing about it. And then you had the movies, which think of how many people focused on that scene with the Palantir and the fucking Eye of Sauron and all that shit. So Peter Thiel and probably his government buddies, because this was probably some fucking CIA shit first, then they're like, oh, let's just take this already strong resonant thing and just hijack it.
Yeah. So like with Rupert Sheldrake, for example, he shows that like when they would synthesize a new chemical that hadn't existed before, like chemists in a lab, it would take so much time to be able to synthesize it. But then in another lab, after it's been synthesized, it wouldn't take very long at all. And he was saying that like the field, the universal field of substance, whatever, retains a memory of that. So now it's easier to access it.
Yeah.
So it would
It's
explain
a 4 minute
why.
mile. It's a 4 minute mile concept.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Hey guys, self-perfected. Change the system.
Okay.
Fucking, let's
So,
do it.
Cam, here's where I want you to go next is the talking nonsense until it becomes like understandable, right? I don't know if you can tie that into this.
Well, yeah, it kind of goes back to the whole scientific paradigm stuff where it's like you're saying stuff that doesn't make sense in the context of the current paradigm. And there was this really cool quote. I forget who it was from, but it was in that Giorgiani book. I think it was, I don't know if it was Foucault or whoever, but they were saying this point about, no, it was some scientist. And he was saying like you'll have somebody who talks a lot of nonsense and then they get their friends to talk the nonsense until the nonsense becomes sense, right? In other words, you have a new concept that's outside of the current understanding of things, and it really doesn't make sense to anybody. And you're using language in a way where it seems like you're abusing it. You're changing the meanings of the words and so forth, right? But then if enough people start doing that and you start developing a framework around it, at a certain point, it's like, okay, now it makes sense. So
And
like,
is this implied that it's something that actually does make sense, like with quantum physics or something, and they just had to embed it in?
Exactly.
Or you're saying it's like
Yeah.
more like a devious thing?
but it doesn't
No.
make sense according
okay,
to...
it doesn't actually
yeah.
make sense.
It doesn't make sense yet. Like, okay, as the
For example,
that,
is Best for All an example of this?
yes, exactly. Yeah.
Because Best for All actually makes sense, but to the average mainstream
The
consciousness
first time that you
normie,
hear it, you're like,
It doesn't make
what
sense.
is that?
Because
Right.
you're still
Okay.
in this because ultimately right now in reality everybody is very strongly holding on to the point that there must be a hierarchy and there must be a supreme being. Either there's no supreme being but there's a hierarchy and we have to get to that supreme state, or that supreme being, we talked about this before, right? So which means it like Giorgiani really says very well of like the whole very concept of the one. Okay, we're not talking about oneness and equality. We're saying the one, the monad, the Atman, the Brahman, God, Allah. That very concept means you have no personal agency. And I think that the Muslims are probably the most honest about
Honest
this.
about that, yeah.
Where they're like, literally, there's nothing you do or don't do or whatever that is. It's anything that God didn't already create or plan. But then again, they have to do that weird rationalization of, but you still have to act in accordance with His plan, which makes no sense because you have no free will to do otherwise anyways. But again, the rational mind can't accept this obviously retarded concept that you have no agency whatsoever. So you have to make up a story of like, well, I still have agency, but it's just whether I go within accordance to God's plan or not. And if I don't, then I won't exist or I'll be punished or I won't, be with God. As if you could do anything outside, like to God, everything's already happened. So you're literally just not even real. Okay. But the reality is you actually do have personal agency in reality. Whether you are accepting that or not, you are affecting reality. And this is like what we're here to really support everybody to realize is you are creating this system moment to moment by what you're accepting.
Yeah.
It's not being done to you from some higher source. It's literally being recreated in every moment by all of us resonating this at all times. So, but because everybody is still resonating this inequality programming, that there's some source, there's some higher thing from which all things come from and are influenced by, the idea that you're actually responsible directly for reality, each of us individually, together collectively, is such a foreign concept that it sounds like nonsense. And there's so much cognitive dissonance. So that's why people have a problem when I'm talking about God.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? Because they don't want to take the self-responsibility of, if there is no God, what does that imply? They think the alternative is meaninglessness.
Right.
And that's how fucked we are.
Or anarchy. Yeah.
But that's how fucked we are in still accepting the concept, because you think the only alternative is meaninglessness. There's no purpose. There's nothing. And it's like, well, you could create your purpose.
Yeah.
You could take responsibility. And they're like, no, but that's not possible. So it just shows you like how even in challenging the concept, you're still not really challenging it.
Dude, there's probably a whole vocabulary set of this that will develop over the years of figuring out how to impulse into reality this higher order concept, which would be best for all. Higher,
Well,
I mean
the
that
thing is-
loosely,
yeah,
but-
Think about it, because like what Cam just explained is like we are bringing it forward. Like it is that, like the Sheldrake thing. It's like, okay, it's taking a while now, right? But there will be like a resonant memory of it where like eventually people are going to see, oh, it's just going to click for them a lot faster, especially because we're going to have things impulsing all over, right? As we grow. And haven't you noticed this already though, that as we grow, like people get into it a lot quicker, where they're just like, it just makes sense. Like they're following along.
I definitely have seen that too with us having our clubhouse and our mastermind for years. The conversations we have nowadays, and I've also got better at explaining it and got better at recruiting people, but the people, I can much quicker get to the point where people are like, yeah, I'm not happy with my life or the state of the world, and we actually need to do something about it.
Right.
So
great.
so that point you were saying about the concepts and so forth, it already exists. Like the vocabulary is we already have it. That's what destiny is. So it's not like we have to figure it out. But the problem, so in other words, the more you study and the more you develop your vocabulary and do forgiveness, you start to go, oh, it was already said. It was already there the whole time. So like even all this paranormal stuff, right? All of the stuff Giorgiani's talking about, I'm like, this is what Bernard's been saying the whole time. Like there's a quantum aspect to reality, and you will not be able to access it really as fully as you possibly can if within yourself you're still dishonest with yourself and you're not willing to take responsibility in a way that's best for all, because otherwise you could not be trusted with having that level of direct access to like let's just say in a certain context an infinite creative potential of reality. If you're a sadist, you cannot would you want a sadist to have power over that?
Fuck no.
definitely not.
So the only reason why a sadist does have power is because we're all giving our personal allegiance and personal power to that sadist,
Right.
which is God, which is the one, which is Anu, which is whatever you want to call it. It's that entity that's like, I just get off on the experience of everybody submitting to me.
Yeah.
So we have to root that out of ourselves.
Wow.
And I think the main point of where I was heading with the Epstein thing is that like the whole, like all these things that he's doing with the children, or not children, but the minors, and then he's got the Poseidon, the temple to Poseidon. He's like with Ghislaine or Ghislaine or however you say your name. They're seeking Atlantis, and it's not just Epstein, but like all of the elite are following a program from Anu. They're following that mythology, and they're trying to basically. And Giorgiani makes this really interesting point. I find it really interesting. He's like, why is Epstein creating all this stuff? Why is he searching for Atlantis?
Anti-gravity.
Yeah. Why is he doing all that if there's, government programs that do this stuff? And so how come he's trying to do that? And it's kind of like a
Like he's putting on anti-gravity conferences.
Yeah.
He's like going in and trying to do his own genetic breeding program.
Did you know that he and Ghislaine, what they were asking Cuba, going to Fidel, asking for permission to dive off the coast of Cuba so that they could look for
They're looking for
Atlantean
She named
city.
his submarine, Epstein's submarine, Atlantis.
Right. And like he's like, when you look at that, it's like, okay, so they don't actually know
Right.
per se where it is.
Right.
And he makes the case that they're doing like a janky or ghetto, like they put together something themselves based on the little bits and pieces that they've gleaned from elsewhere. Right. And he's making the case that like they're outside of the club. Right. They're actually outside of the club trying to recreate and gain parity with the club.
Like they're basically trying to do their own civilization where they develop the technologies and the secrets of Atlantis or whatever they believe it as, their own genetic breeding to breed, their own like population. And they're trying to figure all that stuff out because he realized trying to get into the system and participate at a certain level, he was like not allowed to go that far.
You're saying Epstein was.
Right.
This is Giorgiani's theory, right?
That's Sir Johnny's take is basically like, yeah, sure, he was connected, but he wasn't like that connected. Like there was a layer that he could not permeate, that
So
he could
he
not
was
get
wealthy
into.
in the system. He was able to accumulate a certain amount and do his
Penetrate.
connections, but then realize, oh man, like I'm even kind of trapped. I can't really get into the levels. I need to just create our own thing. And I watched this interview. I think I sent it to you guys of not an interview. It was a talk that Ghislaine Maxwell gave.
Yeah.
She had this whole thing called Terramar Project, and basically, she realized that the entire ocean was technically an unclaimed country that belongs to everyone. There is no territorial claim to the entire ocean. And so she was developing this online platform where you could get like passports, and they wanted to create their own sort of other civilization, like country community, where it's like you own the sea. And I mean, I think part of that also was then you could go and figure out where the fuck Atlantis is or whatever. But you would also yeah.
You would be able to skirt whatever laws, because right now the way that the laws are established for on the ocean or international waters is, I think after like a certain number of miles off the coast, then it's basically like it's a free for all, right? And it's the Wild West, and people use these like ambiguous laws, or the way the laws are written, they may not be enforced, and so it allows for you to do something called seasteading, which is, it's kind of like a homestead but on the sea. So if you establish like a certain territory and you've been there, you're off the coast of
I
wherever.
could see these elite making their own fucking islands.
That's what they're doing.
Right.
That's exactly what
Was
they're
this in
doing.
Diamond Age? Was this Diamond Age, right? Or Snow Crash? They had these floating. There was
they
definitely
do
the
that?
ones where they had floating islands.
Okay. But
Actually, in both in Snow Crash and in Diamond Age, there was motifs of this exact thing.
in
The
Snow Crash,
ocean
I think it was like a massive ship, right?
It's like the ultimate expression of trying to go off grid.
Right.
That's
right.
what like Epstein and Ghislaine Max, just in terms of what I've seen, like the extra information, that the details. So you see how like the mainstream version of Epstein, it's just like, no, he was a weird pedophile guy, and Prince Andrew and all these people were just creepy people, and like that is probably still true. But
Yeah.
there's it seems like there's a much bigger picture to to the whole thing. And I would suspect then that the reason why they are doing that is because they don't want people looking into what they were really into.
Right.
Because that's like starting to go into areas that the government really doesn't want us to know about. And I think that is also why the disclosure
Yeah.
thing is so managed and curated into like a certain area, because disclosure isn't just, this is what I realized, it's not just the disclosure of UFOs or aliens or something. It's the disclosure of there's other layers to reality that we're all directly connected within, where you realize you're not as limited as you actually think you are, and that your ignorance of that is being abused so that someone else can essentially, it's like, imagine each of us within us have a creative ability within reality far beyond what we realize. But if you don't know about it, and I can mind control you, I can access your little piece of the pie and build what I want.
Yeah.
It's like I'm stealing your capacity and you just don't even know it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so the whole disclosure thing is so fascinating to me. I was talking about on the stream last night because I was showing how before 9/11 they came out with the Pearl Harbor movie, right? And
Yeah.
then also during COVID there was this show called Utopia, and it was about a virus and a vaccine and like all this crazy shit, and it came out after COVID. And I was
Oh,
like, well,
okay.
okay, that doesn't really prove it. But I was like, well, when did they start production? And it was 2018.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So I'm like, why are they coming out with this Disclosure Day movie by
Yeah.
Steven
Yeah, did you watch the trailer?
Spielberg? Dude, it's crazy.
Dude, I saw it in theaters. I went to some movie like, I don't know, half a year ago, and I saw the Avatar movie, and it was one of the
was one of those
trailers. I
trailers,
was like, this shit's insane.
There's this scene in the trailer I saw where this guy's like hooked up to like a headset in like some kind of government facility, but then it shows him projected into a woman's living room, and she comes in and he's sitting at her chair, and he's like, "Hi, Mary," and then for a moment it shows he's not in the chair and he's still back in the other one, but she's seeing him holographically there.
Damn.
And then when he's back in the room, like the actual place where he's actually at, he has this weird kind of like crystallized wand type thing in his hand, and he goes like this, and then it shows back in the room where she's at. It shows her hand like turning, and then he goes like this, and then it shows her like doing that, like he's like basically controlling her body.
Oh, that's crazy.
But when we were looking at those documents last night from the Defense Intelligence Agency, one of those projects was the ability to like mentally control some kind of I forget the way it was worded. It was so interesting, but it was like basically you could read it as that type of technology where you can
Yeah.
mentally control something where you're not physically present, right? And I was like, so it's like they're disclosing a lot of concepts, but in a way where it's all just Hollywood. It's all
Yeah, it's
it's
entertainment.
fantasy, and
Yeah.
then there's a point in the trailer where he's like, I want to disclose all this information, and she's like, are they people? He's like, and he goes, no. So they're already pre-framing it that there's like an extraterrestrial alien, perhaps
Yeah,
intelligence or something. And Giorgiani basically is like, no, there's no actual aliens from another planet. That's actually like not what's really going on. So there's like two layers to it. There's humans.
Okay, so
there's
I've-
humans with advanced technology that present themselves as these Nordic alien types that look like human beings. Why do they look like human beings? Because they are human beings, right? They're just like evolved. And then there's the other layer, which is sort of like the occult side coming from the other dimensions into our reality. So there's like two types of UFOs. There's like human built technology, and then there's the sort of atemporal, outside of space and time sort of aspect to it. And they just don't want you to know about any of it, basically.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I heard him talk about the Nordic. Did he talk about that at all?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what I was referring to.
Yeah. That's what he was basically saying. Is like
Which ones
the
are they?
Nordics.
Yeah.
That's the human type
Dude.
Okay.
with the advanced technology.
This is one of those
Right.
things where for me it's even a little out there. And I don't want to say I believe it because I'm like, I don't know. Like it could just be a story, if that makes sense. Like I don't
Sure.
know. I don't know.
Yeah.
But his whole idea is so the Nazis, Mitch. Okay, so we're talking
No.
about Epstein, right? We're talking about
No.
Epstein.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah.
We're talking about Epstein. He's into genetic breeding, anti-gravity technology, etc., right? Do you know what the Nazis were into?
Anti-gravitic technology.
Yes, UFOs. There's claims that the Roswell incident was actually a Nazi-created UFO. It's man-made, and he was
Yeah,
showing
I heard him saying some
he
crazy
was showing
shit
how the
about.
technology that they found was literally state-of-the-art technology, like porous metal, Velcro type applications, things like that. Like they weren't like some interdimensional shit, right? Or like some alien technology. It was like just the state-of-the-art technology in Germany. But they were also into what? Creating what? What's their whole deal?
The Aryan race.
The super race. So his whole theory, okay, which I know is wild. I'm just like telling you what he said, right? His whole theory is that at some point in the future, these genetic breeding evolved people who also are more in tune with their psychic abilities and shit like that, which the government is studying, evolve into a point where they develop actual UFO type technology that's anti-gravity. But when you have anti-gravity, when you warp space, you also warp what?
Time.
Time. So they effectively become time machines where they can then go back in the past to different points and influence human civilization.
Oh,
Because at some-
shit. I'm reading
because at some
Peripheral right
point-
now.
Because at some point, their civilization doesn't work anymore.
Oh, shit.
And they're like, we got to keep. It's just like Terminator, like Skynet's like going into the past because it knows it gets destroyed at some point. It's trying to like prevent that from happening, right? So it's like sending back, the Terminators and all this shit, right? So that's the whole idea, is why these Nordics appear human, is because they're just super genetically engineered people that are like a superior race from the perspective of beauty and strength and intelligence and all that stuff. And that's why they have UFOs, and that's why the Nazis were into UFOs and all this shit, right? And he thinks that the Nazis never actually were defeated. The SS
They just got
went
moved into
underground.
NASA.
Not just NASA,
Not just
like
NASA, CIA,
everything.
everything. Yeah.
So that's why the government is continuing all these deep, dark projects about developing UFOs and selective
Yeah, I
breeding
mean,
and all this
yeah,
shit. That's what's
yeah.
really going on. So he's like, they're just Nazis from the future.
Is this all in that long ass one you sent where it takes like 27 minutes to start?
It's 27
There's
minutes.
multiple
Is that
long-ass
the
ones.
X Spaces one?
I think so, yeah.
I wouldn't even listen to that one without the
No,
others.
go to the one where he's in the white room.
Jesse Michaels, those two.
Jesse Michaels, that one.
And then the Danny Jones ones are good as supplements because he goes into more detail.
Yeah.
Okay, Jesse
So
Michaels
yeah, it's
one.
fascinating. It's fascinating.
Yeah. You'll like it, Mitchell. You'll like it.
Yeah, because I remember hearing about him a while back because there was a guy who came to our clubhouse who was like, "Oh, I'm so into Jason Giorgiani." I was like, "Okay, sure, I'll
never
listen
heard
to
of
one
the
of these
guy
guys."
before.
And then I saw he was on Danny Jones, and I remember I was listening to it one night when I was just falling asleep, and I was like, "This is fucking crazy." He was talking about these free energy facilities on the border of fucking Germany during World War II and all this shit. And I was
Yeah.
like,
So
okay.
the thing that's so okay, because like I think what happens is people start studying that stuff and they're like, I want to develop the psi ability. They basically become like Jeffrey Epstein, like I want to tap into all this and like get out of this trap that I'm in. Like, and what we realize is that's a waste of time.
Right.
Okay, so just for anybody out there, if you want to tap into that in some way, okay, the way you would tap into that stuff, like the psi stuff, is develop yourself to be really self-honest and have the starting point of supporting others and yourself to do what's best for all. And then perhaps along the way, you'll develop abilities that you didn't realize you had. But it's like, okay, if you could read other people's thoughts, what would you do with that information?
I would totally dominate
Dude,
them.
the average person is like, I would do it so I could either have more sex or make more money.
So
Basically.
Dude,
instead,
do you remember there was that movie? And I think the guy was like, I think it was like Dennis Quaid or something, and he could read women's minds.
I never saw
Was
the
it
movie.
Dennis Quaid?
I think it was Jack Nicklaus or Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson, not the same
What,
person.
like what women want or something.
yeah. Okay, so you remember. You do
Yeah.
remember. Okay, yeah.
I shouldn't know the.
We're going through the whole spectrum of
I
Hollywood.
thought it was like a sci-fi thing you're talking about.
No. But yeah, it was basically he could read women's minds, and it was like the whole point of it was like, what would you do if you could read women's minds? Like that was the whole catch. Is like, oh yeah, then I'd be able to have more sex.
I'm good without that.
Well, okay, but hear me out. Hear me out.
I don't want to read women's minds.
Yeah, it sounds
I have a
fucking,
wife.
It sounds fucking exhausting. Yeah, I'll just talk to my wife a couple times a day. I'll be good.
So the thing is, what if? Okay, two things. So one, I think a lot of these Giorgiani type people, not him personally. I'm not talking about him. I'm saying the people that follow him and get into it. They see it as like, oh, I can get out of this trap and reincarnation and everything by developing my abilities. But they don't realize it's all of us or none of us. Because if you really
Yeah.
understood the situation, you would realize we're all resonating reality into what it is. There's no, like Bernard said, the universe is finite. So you can't go escape forever into some other infinity situation where no one's fucking with you anymore. Like you just be your own person. Like it's really all of us or none of us. So then if you consider it from that perspective, if there's any interest you have of wanting to develop your abilities and so forth, like if you could read people's thoughts, would you take advantage of it, or would
Yeah.
you see it as a way of, okay, I can see what this person's thinking, let me help them understand even further how to actually do what's best, how to create a world that's best for all. So
Yeah.
what I'm saying is you can develop a lot of fake psychic abilities where it's just boosting up your ego, but you'll never know if they're real or not. It could just be a delusion. You will never. I mean, there's a lot of context as to how I know that, but I'm saying it's not real. The only real actual abilities is the ability to influence reality through your words and your actions based on how you're thinking in a way that's best for all. So I do see that there's a lot of potential to develop capacities beyond what you accept, but not if your starting point is just to escape. So it's like we could sit here and blame the people who are in religion, being like, you're just trying to escape from the problems that we're creating. But then these people who have kind of hit up against the point of like, oh, there's like a reincarnation trap, and there's like some kind of entities that want to be rulers, like, I got to get out of here. And it's like, no, see, you're missing the point. You've got to get them and everyone else and yourself to actually come together and realize we should create a world that's best, because you don't control reality all by yourself. That's not a possibility. There is no realm you can get to beyond this where suddenly you can just create whatever you want. You see how like the law of attraction, all that shit sort of like has infested our minds and so forth.
Definitely.
Yeah. There was a cool phrase the other day. We were talking about Creation's Journey to Life, number 187. And in there, Bernard has a line. He called it the stupidity of self-dishonesty. Mm-hmm. Like he saw that point early on when he was uncovering a lot of this, of the stupidity of self-dishonesty, because it will create consequence and it will ultimately compromise you. So that was like, for him, that was you could say a quote unquote motivation. But it's like, I was really looking at that the past few days because you'll know those little moments where it's that little self-dishonest thought. And I've been able, I use my Techno-Tutor for it, to be able to see, yeah, fuck those thoughts. I'm not here to be stupid. I'm here to figure out how to go all the way.
If you think about it, like logically, like within the self-dishonesty, it's like, okay, you might be able to deceive yourself for this moment right now because it gives you some temporary benefit, let's say. And it's not a real benefit. It's like a very short-lived, like...
It's a sadistic type of, like, you're just getting some feeling from it. Right?
You're really just delaying, like you're pushing off the inevitable. Mm-hmm. Because eventually you're going to have to deal with that point. Like, it's going to come back eventually. And so the self-dishonesty, it's stupid for that reason, because it's like, yeah, but you just kick the can down the road and the can gets bigger.
Now you're going to force yourself to face it for real later.
Mm-hmm. And he's got another article on the Destiny website, and basically the article states, like, if you're avoiding something now, if you're saying like, oh, I don't want to deal with that experience right now, what you're actually doing is you're creating that experience so that it's going to force you into the point. I know that's what Cam just said, but I'm saying it in a more like clear way of like, it's going to force you into the point where you have to deal with it. You cannot escape, and you're like, oh fuck, okay, now there's no escaping it,
And you could try to deceive yourself again, but it just keeps getting
worse. It's going to get worse. Right? But look, isn't that a reflection of the reality that we're faced with right now? Where like everything is like constantly like, oh, and then this is happening, and then this, and then this is like, holy shit! What
you don't want to question God as the thing in control of reality. Okay, fine, we'll manifest it here on Earth. It's called AI fucking super God.
And yet people are like getting into like even more just like, well, no, this is part of God's plan to destroy everything so that, then everything can be made new. It's like, holy shit. Like you are very self-dishonest. Katie says to play that trailer again. I'm going to play that again right now.
Okay, you find it. Let me add another comment real quick.
I already found it. It's here.
What I was going to say is...
Whenever you're ready, you go ahead. You go ahead. I'll just play it when you're done.
What I was going to say is that I don't remember now. So go ahead and play it.
All right, you get to say it after.
What did you steal?
I'll full screen that.
Secrets.
No children.
The data they paid me to
No
protect.
children watching.
Are they people?
No.
Good morning, Kansas City. Let's take a look at today. Today is today's.
Do you understand what she's saying?
I hear it's gibberish. I can't understand it.
And I can.
What's happening to me?
People are starved for the truth. I'm a part of it now. I'm just sorry that they made you a part of it too.
Hello, Jane. Please. Have a seat.
This 79-year terror campaign of lies has to end.
What are you gonna do?
Full disclosure to the whole world.
That truth will upend all established order across the entire world. If you do this, there's no undoing it.
Why would they do this?
When the time is right, everything will become clear.
Whatever happens, don't you let go.
Dude. I wonder what they're saying. Like,
I'm definitely going to that movie.
you remember when we were seeing like that sign?
I think it is that actually.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah. You have to
What
kind of
sign?
know what they're saying. It's like that sign speech, sign signal,
Sign wave, like
speech.
sinusoidal.
Oh, and not like those women you showed at the meditation retreat, Cameron, who are speaking in light language.
Dude, okay, speaking of meditation, Christine was telling me because she likes to, I don't know why, but like she saw one of the people that we met here locally has a sibling that was part of like some cult thing or whatever, right? And then they were part of like this documentary about the cult because they recently got out or whatever, they were on a documentary. And she's like, the person was posting on Instagram, here's my brother and you know the cult that he escaped and whatever, and Christine was like really like, ooh, what's this? And she wants to watch it. So she was watching that and she's telling me about it because she knows I'm not gonna watch it, but she's like, it was so interesting because the guy says that this gal's brother says that what got him interested was he was watching this guy. He came across like some videos of his and he was like, oh man, the guy basically portrays himself as like the Messiah. He's some spiritual guru. He's not even human, blah, blah, blah. And the guy watching it, the brother watching, he's like, oh man, he was really interested. It sounded really good to him. He liked it. And so what he did, because he's like a video editor, he decided to edit this guy's videos and put like nice music to it and turn it into like a meditation so that he could get noticed by this guy. And so eventually the guy does notice him and he reaches out and he's like, oh, why don't you come visit with me and blah, 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 right? So the brother goes to visit with this guy in Egypt because apparently this guru is some reincarnation of Ra, is what he said, right? And so he's visiting with him in Egypt, and then he gets there and he's like, "Oh, this is just a normal guy," but but he was always like so caught up in it. He was just like, "Well, I'll just stay around anyway." And the guy eventually like gets close enough to the brother where he basically trusts him with some shit where he's like, you know, like the brother notices like this guy's got 2 girlfriends and they're constantly fighting because they're always jealous of each other. And he says the other thing was that the guy would drink and smoke. And so he's like, okay, so you're some like off, you know, you're not human and yet you're doing all this shit. Like,
Addicted
what the
to
fuck?
drinking, yeah.
Yeah. And so he said he would do these retreats. And so they're doing this retreat in like Costa Rica or something. There's 100 people in attendance. And the night before, the guy is just drinking, smoking. He's getting like wasted, basically.
Lit.
Yes. And he's entrusted the brother to wake him up before the event, before the retreat. And so the retreat starts at like, 9 o'clock. And so at 7:30, the brother's like coming in. He's like, hey, it's going to start at 9. It's 7:30 now. And the guy's like, ah. And so he's like, just give me 5 more minutes. So he keeps coming back. 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes. And the guy keeps pushing him off until finally it's literally just 5 minutes before the event. And he's like, it's happening now. It's 5 minutes from now. And the guy's like, fine. He gets up. They show up to the event 5 minutes late, even though it was just down they're on the same property. They show up 5 minutes late. And then he says, when he gets there, he literally spends the first 30 minutes just sitting there with his eyes closed and head down.
They all think he's meditating or something.
Everybody thinks he's meditating. Everyone's like, oh, wow. And they're like so in awe. And the brother's like, I'm watching this and I'm like, I know he's just hungover. Like he's sleeping. He's trying to wake up. And everybody's just like, they're feeling so like, oh, wow. Like inspired by just this guy's meditation, even though it's just all a facade, right? It just reminded me when you were saying that meditation thing, Mitch. Yeah. Anyway,
the thing I was gonna say earlier was just about that point of like that self-honesty within your experience, right? And I'll see if I can articulate this point. Like, it's like you can study something and then you can like know it by learning about it, by thinking about it. It's like you know the information, but that's just knowledge and information. Versus you take that knowledge and you test it out in your experience. And then you're honest with yourself about what you experience based on it. Right? And Giorgiani makes this point of like, that's real empiricism. Real empiricism is testing things in your experience. So like somebody could even come into our group and say all the things that's in the material and everything. But then when you observe, just like you're talking about with that guy, when you observe their actual actions, and not that the point necessarily is about proving it to others. That's not the point I'm making. But you can see the disconnect. Like they say all this great stuff, and then you observe their actions, they do nothing. They don't support anybody. They don't change anything within themselves, their life. They just continue going along with their pre-programming in the system. It's like nothing. Now, it's not to say that people can't walk through challenges within themselves and so forth. I get that. We have to be patient. We have to be kind and all that. But we're talking about you yourself. You have to test the information, right? It's like with our children, how we educate them, for example. No one can tell me I don't know how to educate my children.
Right.
Like nobody. Like I'm there. Like, can I prove it to another person who's skeptical, who just wants to discount anything I say from my experience? No, I can't. Right. Like just like the scientists who are always skeptical about these phenomena it doesn't matter what evidence you give them. Right. Go ahead.
I was going to say, we watched a video on the Hangout and it was this guy in some county in Ohio where they're trying to build a data center. And he's speaking up and he's basically saying, like, listen, I'm not a cynic when it comes to technology. I've actually used these technologies myself. I did graphic design for a company, and when Midjourney came out, I was the one using Midjourney, prompting it to come up with the designs that they wanted. And eventually they saw that and saw they could do it themselves, and they fired me, right? But he's making this point of how, you know, they're telling us, this data center company is telling us that they can take this water and use it in a closed loop system within the facility, so that they only have to take the water once and it won't ever create problems for us. He's like, and maybe in a laboratory setting that might work, but this is the real world. That's not how it works in the real world, because in the real world, there's going to be some toxic sludge that they have to bleed off. And in order to bleed off that toxic sludge, they're going to have to open up the lines, which means that water is also going to evaporate. So they're going to need more water. And then where's that water going to go? It's going to go into our airspace. Where are they going to put that sludge? He's like, I worked for the organic mattress company, you know, where they're saying like it's all organic, blah, blah, blah. But there's something called forever chemicals. They've got to bleed off those forever chemicals. And where do you think that goes? That's not just like, oh, we just put it in a pile over here. You know, that ends up going into, you know, the rivers. And he's basically like, this is a lie. So even, and he makes the point. He's like, I've seen how these studies are funded. The study comes from the company that has enough money to fund the study. And if you have enough money, you can get whatever result you want. Right. So what they're telling us is not the real quote unquote scientific truth. It's the result that they want us to see. Right? Which is always the case. And even with the scientific truth, the point that we were kind of talking about earlier, and I don't, you mentioned it, but just to make it even more clear, it's like you have something called Newtonian physics. And then a little while longer, there's something else or a different application, and you've got Brownian motion, Brownian physics, right? And then a little while longer, you've got, you know, Einsteinian physics, you know, and these all describe different things. You're not going to use Newtonian physics to describe the quantum physical, because you're describing different things, and they don't actually, the definitions that you have for the same words that you're using are different definitions when it comes to Newtonian physics versus the quantum physics, right? It's completely different. The words are not interchangeable, actually. You're
like
talking about
mass or energy and Newtonian versus Einstein. They actually mean different things. They have different mathematical descriptions.
Right, exactly. And so even within, we're still talking about science.
Yeah.
We're just talking about science. And so even within that context, it doesn't translate. So then how are you going to say within, oh, well, where's your white paper, or where's your scientific studies? Where's your lab research? How does that even translate into reality? Because science can't even agree with other sciences. That doesn't make one science wrong or the other science wrong, right? It just means, hey, these things are not actually compatible in that way. There is no, currently anyway, there is no unifying, you know, philosophy or science that takes, here's how the Newtonian and the Brownian, it's all actually just this bigger science. There is no concept like that at this current moment that explains all of that succinctly. It's, you're in this realm, you work with this science. You're in this other realm, you work with this other science. That's currently how it works.
And you're not going to see the same facts about observations and so forth from one to another. Certain things that will be true and obvious in one paradigm will just not even show up on the radar on the other one.
Right.
You know,
and in that context, it's like, we're talking about real life.
Yeah.
We're talking about like, and the only way, actually, there is no lab setting where you're going to do a scientific experiment and see, does this work? It's like, no, the only way you understand if it works in real life is you have to actually do it in real life. And then you'll see.
Yeah, I'm like imagining a movie trailer, and it's like, you're going to go on this journey. And it's like, before they get started, they're like, the only thing we ask you is that you trust yourself. Right? Because that's really what it comes down to. It's like, you're going to have to test things in your experience. It doesn't, if some authority tells you what's true, like this is the thing we've been talking about a lot. Like if God says it's true, but didn't you have to make the decision within yourself that that God is God? And that God is the authority. And how did you verify it? Well, I had this experience. Like, right. So you're testing it in your experience, but are you being honest with yourself in your experience? Are you
like the meditation retreat people had an experience too?
Like if you're a Catholic and you say God is the author of peace and Satan is the author of confusion and I can't let go of God. I have to trust God because God gives me peace. But then if you actually examine the details of your life, you're never peaceful. I can't prove that to you. You have to be honest with yourself. Like, I'm literally just anxiety ridden all day long, and I'm totally fearful, and I gossip, and I hate people, and I'm angry, and I get frustrated, and I'm always like scared
Except for
and anxious.
the 8 minutes I'm praying and I'm intensely focused
Yeah, where you're
on
like
my
in
Bible
a peaceful
verse.
mode, which obviously you're creating that experience, just like you were talking about with that cult guy, where everyone's like, oh, wow, this is so amazing. He's literally just like, but they have put the symbolism onto him that he's something that grants peace and harmony within their experience. Like they literally just are creating that experience within themselves and not being honest about it.
Yeah.
So we're not asking anybody to do that. In fact, if I find people in my presence that are participating in that, I'm like, fucking stop it.
Right.
Stop projecting things onto reality. Just actually test it out. And what if we observed within our group, some people apply themselves for real, they start to actually get more of what they really want. But it's only in the context that now you have more responsibility to go help others till we get to the point where we can actually change the laws in this world and the money system and change the way resources are distributed, which seems like a really big task. But I mean, what else are you going to do with your life?
Yeah. And the bigger we get, like the bigger we get, the more influence we have.
Yeah.
Also within that, that putting off of like the responsibility then justifies or creates the conditions really for like a company like Palantir to exist. Right. Where it's like constantly watching you, monitoring you, policing you. Let me just share this real quick because I know we got to go soon. Let me just share this real quick. This is by the CEO of Palantir put this out. And this is just basically, because we get asked a lot, the Technological Republic in brief. And these are like 22 points of the Technological Republic. And some of these sound good. But I want to just scroll really quickly because we don't have a lot of time. To number 17. Silicon Valley must play a role in addressing violent crime. Many politicians across the United States have essentially shrugged when it comes to violent crime, abandoning any serious efforts to address the problem or take on any risk with their constituencies or donors and coming up with solutions and experiments in what should be a desperate bid to save lives. This, to me, just stands out very obviously.
Like Minority Report shit.
Exactly. It's obviously what this is.
But at the same time, at a certain level, I can agree.
Of course.
But
of course.
It has to be guided by the principle of what's best for all. It's like,
right.
He's kind of like blaming. It's like, who is he blaming for the fact that, like the next bullet point was the point of like, there's far too much public scrutiny over people's private lives.
Right.
And people can't go into service in the government because they basically are mistreated. I'm like, but who's doing it?
Right.
Who is he blaming exactly? And so you see, it's not solving that problem of somebody's evil here in this situation, even in his mind. So who are you talking about? Who is it that you need to control to be able to do all this? You see, like, there's no actual solution within it because it's really just like, well, we're the good guys and trust us and we'll do it all properly and just stop listening to the bad ones. And I'm like, is there any actual delineation between the people he's referring to as are the problem and the people who he thinks are going to actually do something good? Like, so how do we trust that? Right?
Yeah.
Okay, I guess we probably better go.
Yep.
All right, everyone.
That was fun.
Yes. Get out there, everyone, and share. You can do it. Show you care.
See you next
by
time.
sharing.
Bye.
Self-perfected, making things clear.